नहीं सुनो सोमीर उनको पकड़ के निकलना हूँ बाबा जो बुढ़े लोग हैं उनको पकड़ के गिर जाएंगे वो। ठीक है आ जाओ आ जाओ आ जाओ आ जाओ। ठीक है ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರ ನಡಿ ಮತ್ತೆ पानी है ना चलिए हम चलिए सर।
टीपी नहीं है टीपी ನೀಡುತ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ बाप के दूधी घास कहाँ पर है जालो कहाँ को हुआ उतना मिल गए मछली जमा हो रहा है अभी हम लोग को दिया उसने दे दिया क्या हमें पूरा आदमी का है जमा हो रहा है बाद पटाना पटाना ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇಟ್ಕೊಂತ ಇದ್ರೆ ಬೇಜಾನ್ ಹಿಡ್ದವ್ರು ಒಂದಲ್ಲ.
ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂತರ ಹಿಡಿಯೋ ತರ ಮಾಡಿ ಆಗ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ.
ಅಲ್ಲರ
ಲಕ್ಷ್ಮಣ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ ಬೇಗ.
बात कीजिए, गाड़ी सर कर आप हिंदी बोलेगा।
आइए सर, मैं तो तीनों का ही लेने वाली हूँ, एक एक करके पूछूंगी। बैठे
और तಗೊಂಡ್ತೀನಿ
किनका लेना, किनका ले लीजिए सर का, फिर मैं आती हूँ। सर मैं आपको भी दूँ, एक मिनट 1 सेकेंड ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಿರ್ತೀನಿ, ಹಂಗೆ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಬಿಡ್ಲಿ ಸರ್. 1 मिनट उनको बता देते हैं।
ए भाई रुको रुको रुको, उधर रुको, आजा आजा आजा। रुको रुको जी,
1 मिनट रुको रुको रुको।
पानी में जा, पानी में जरा आओ जी, तुम्हारा काम बंद नहीं है, अब फिर आओ। मंदिर पकड़ा, काम बंद हो गए, मंदिर पकड़ा। हाँ वो साल देखिए वही करेंगे। अरे भाई तो देख लो, ओपन ओपन भागेगा, हाइड करो। पैसा ले भाई, ये है कितना बड़ा बड़ा है।
हाँ सर, गुड मॉर्निंग सर।
चिल्लाए हो तो बात
No, this one pothole wala spot I haven't reached. They wanted rain visual, so. ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ರಸ್ತೆ ದಾರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಒಂದು ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತವ್ರು, ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ತವ್ರೆ, ಮೀನುಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಹಿಡಿತಾ ಇದಾರೆ. ಸಕ್ಕತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ ವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಲಂಕ ಹತ್ರ ಸರ್, ಗ್ರೇಟ್ ವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ. ಎಷ್ಟು ಮೀನುಗಳಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು 5 kg ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡವ್ರು ಇವರು. ಸಕ್ಕತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ. ಯಲಂಕ ಯಲಂಕ ಕೆರೆ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಇದೆ, ಅದು ಫ್ಲಡ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ರೋಡಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಮೀನ್ ಹಿಡ್ತಾವ್ರಿ ಇವರು. ಸಕ್ಕತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ ವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ. BMTC ಬಸ್ಸಸ್ ಆರ್ ಸ್ಟಕ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ನೈಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಶೇರ್ ಲೊಕೇಶನ್. ಇಲ್ಲ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ ದಟ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್, ಈ ಸೆಡ್ ಗಿವ್ ಮಿ 20 minutes ಅಂತ. ದಟ್ RTO guy. ठीक है, his name is Vinesh. So I'm waiting for that contact number. Once he sends, I'll send you across. ನಿಮಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಂದ್ರೆ ಹೇಳಿ ಸರ್. ನೀವು ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ? ಹೌದಾ? ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಯಾವ ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ ನನಗೆ ಕಳಿಸಿ ಸರ್, ಅಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ನಾನು ಬಂದಿರ್ತೀನಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ. ಡನ್ ಸರ್, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್, ಬಾಯ್. ಕರಿಯಲ್ಲ सर, आ जाइए सर, आ जाइए जल्दी। दर्शन
कल 4 बजे से
एक मिनट
एक मिनट
और ಮಾತಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ
ಹಿಂದಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಕಾ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲ ಮೇಡम?
हिंदी
सर बताइए यहाँ की सिचुएशन कैसी है? यहाँ पर बसेस जो है वो अटकी पड़ी है, कब से हुआ, कैसे हुआ है?
ये कल शाम 4 बजे से बारिश आ गई, इतना पानी लग गया और कल रात में 7 बजे से बस ऐसा ही लगा है और पूरा बारिश से हम लोग का काम बंद है। काम करने की नहीं हो रहा। हम लोग मजदूर आदमी इधर सुबह ड्यूटी आए, अभी रात से ही पानी आके पूरा जाम लगा है दुकान में। हम लोग काम करने के लिए नहीं है, किधर से कमाएंगे किधर से खाएंगे।
सब बंद
कल 4 बजे से
थोड़ा पीछे जाइए सर। यहाँ पर सिचुएशन कैसी है, क्या क्या तकलीफ
बहुत खराब है
अभी
मैडम,
तो
बहुत
लोग
तकलीफ
मछलियाँ
है।
भी पकड़ी
हाँ, मछली भी पकड़ रहा है। कल 4 बजे से पकड़ के कोई भी गवर्नमेंट वाला भी बीबीएम वाला भी कोई भी नहीं आया इधर। वो इधर ड्रेनेज भी 1-2 महीने से रिपेयरिंग करने के लिए पूरा बंद करके पड़ा हुआ है। पूरा ऊपर का तालाब है, तालाब का पानी पूरा रास्ता पे आ रहा है। बहुत प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है इधर पूरा। वो पब्लिक को सभी को हम देखो इधर मकान वाला को पूरा प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है। लेकिन अभी तक कोई भी ऑफिसर भी एक भी कोई भी नहीं आया बीबीएम वाला इधर। कोई किसी को भी एक रेस्पॉन्सिबल ही नहीं आया इधर। बहुत खराब है, पूरा मछली पकड़ रहा है। कितना प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है इधर से। कल 4 बजे से अभी तक भी कुछ भी देखो गाँव रोड पे कोई भी आया नहीं। बहुत मुश्किल हो रहा है सब इधर से। बहुत प्रॉब्लम चल रहा है इधर। रेस्पॉन्सिबल पर्सन कोई भी नहीं है इधर तक अभी भी, कल से भी। थैंक
यू सर, बहुत बढ़िया।
मैडम हमारे
कौन सा है सर? पानी 200 होगा तो फिर हमें मत
ले जाओ तुरंत। कोई भी आके क्या करेगा इधर? ये पूरा बंद। ये उतना जो है उतना पानी
ಹರಿತಾ ಇದ್ದಲ್ಲ
ಇಂತಿರ ನೀರಾದ್ರೆ ಹೊರಟೋಗ್ತೈತೆ ಕೆರೆ ಫುಲ್ಲಾಗೋಗೈತೆ
ಸಾಕಲ್ಲ ಇಷ್ಟೇನೆಲ್ಲ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಬೈಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರೋ ಕಡೆ ಬಾಟಲ್ ಇಂಜೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದೆ ಅದು ಲೀಕ್
ಹಲೋ 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 ಏನು ಬರ್ತಿದೆ?
ಬಾಟಲ್ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಹೊಡಿಸ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವರು. ಒಂದು ಎಮ್ಮ ಬಿದ್ದಿರೋದು ಇದು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅದು ತಗೋಬೇಕು ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲ ದಾರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಾದ್ರೂ ಬಾಟಲ್ ಕಳಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅವ್ನು ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ ಸಾಕ ಗಾಯತ್ರಿ ಬೇರೆಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗೋದು ಬೇಡ ಅಂತ ಓದೋರು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಕಳಿಸೋದು.
ಬಸ್ಸು ತೆಗಿತಾರೆ ಇವಾಗ ಏನು ಮಾಡೋದು?
ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಬೇಡ ಬಿಡಿ ಸರ್.
ಸಾಕಲ್ವಾ?
ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ರೋಡ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಕೋಟೂರ್ ಜಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ IAF is close to enable rescue. 849 ಹೀಗೆ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರು ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾ?
ಯಾವ ನೀರು ಸರಿ ಸರ್ ಏನೇ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಚಾನಲಲ್ಲೂ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ನಾವು ತೆಗ್ದು ಬೇರೆ ಚಾನಲ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಸೊ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ಟೆಲಿಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಿ ರೀಜ್ನವ್ರು ಬರ್ತಾರಂತೇಳಿ ರೀಜ್ನವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ.
ಹೆಂಗೆ ಇವರು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಮಿಸಸ್ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಹೋಗಿ ಜೈ
ಬೆಳಗ್ಗಿಂದ ಕೂಡ ನೂರಾರು ನಿವಾಸಿಗಳನ್ನ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇದ್ದಂತಹ ಲಾಕ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂತಹ ನಿವಾಸಿಗಳನ್ನ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬರುವಂತಹ ಕೆಲಸ ಇಲ್ಲಿನ ರಕ್ಷಣಾ ತಂಡಗಳು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಕಾಯ್ದಾನೆ
ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಏನಾಗಿರ್ತದೆ ರಿಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗಾ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ವಾರಗಳ ಕಾಲ ಅವರನ್ನ ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ಸ್ಥಳಾಂತರ ಮಾಡುವುದರಿಂದ ಮನವಿನ ಸ್ಥಳೀಯ ಶಾಸಕರು ಕೂಡ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಆ ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ ಒಂದು ನಿವಾಸಿಗಳನ್ನ ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗೆ ಬೋಟ್ ಮೂಲಕ NDRF ಸಿಬ್ಬಂದಿಗಳು ಅವರನ್ನ ಮನೆಗಳ ಹೊರಗೆ ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡಲಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆಯಿಂದಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಜನರನ್ನ ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಹೊರಭಾಗದಿಂದ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅವರು ತಮ್ಮ ತಮ್ಮ ಸಂಬಂಧಿಕರಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರನ್ನ ತಿಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಿಕರಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅವರ ಮನೆಗೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂಥವ್ರು ಏನಾದರೂ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಮನವಿ ಮಾಡುವಂಥ ಓಟ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡೋದಾಗಿ ಕೂಡ ಶಾಸಕರು ಭರವಸೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಪೂರ್ಣ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದನ್ನ ಮುಂದಿನ ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ವಾರಗಳ ಕಾಲ ಎಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತಹ ನಿವಾಸಿಗಳು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಸ್ಥಳಗಳಿಗೆ ತೆರಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ
ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ನಿವಾಸಿಗಳನ್ನ ಕೂಡಲೇ ರಕ್ಷಣೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು.
ಇಲ್ಲ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಇಳಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ಬಿಡಿ ನೀರು ಮೇಡಮ್
सर सर्वर 15 मिल रहे हैं सर, विजुअल्स मिल रहे हैं सर, हाँ सर, ओके
आप बाहर आइए
सब जगह में है
ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬನ್ನಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅಲ್ಲ ಇದಲ್ಲ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಕೊಡಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ಈ ಕಡೆ ತೋರಿಸಿ ಮಗುನ ಸರ್ ಈ ಕಡೆ ತೋರಿಸಿ ಸರ್ ಬನ್ನಿ ಬನ್ನಿ ಸರ್ ಮಗುನ ಇಲ್ಲಿಸಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಎರಡು ಮೂರು ಅವನು ಸೈಡ್ ಬಿಡಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸೈಡ್ ಬಿಡಿ ಒಳಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಲಗೇಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ಬನ್ನಿ
बच्चे को दे दीजिए
ಮಮ್ಮಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಹೋಗಿ
ಆಯ್ತು ಬನ್ನಿ ನೀವು ಇಡಿ
ಓಕೆನಾ ಸರ್ ಹೇಳಿರಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹಿಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಬನ್ನಿ ಅವ್ರು ಹಾಕಿ ನೋಡಿ ಇನ್ನ ಎರಡು ಮೂರು ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಸೈಡ್ ಬನ್ನಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಅದು ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಹಂಗೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾಳೆ ಎರಡು ಬೋಟ್ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾಳೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡಿ ಸರ್ ಬೋಟ್ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹಿಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಹಂಗೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬನ್ನಿ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬನ್ನಿ ಬರ್ಲಿ ಸರ್ ಬನ್ನಿ ಮುಂದೆ ಬನ್ನಿ ಅವರು ಹೊರ್ತವೆ ಸರ್ ಹಾಗೆ ಬನ್ನಿ ಮುಂದೆ ಬರಲಿ ಹಾಂ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸೈಡಾಗಿ ಇನ್ನೂ ಸೈಡಾಗಿ ಇನ್ನೂ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸೈಡಾಗಿ ಸರ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸೈಡಾಗಿ ಇನ್ನೂ ಸೈಡಾಗಿ आप कैसे जाएंगे मैडम जी उधर सिर्फ आप पहले आ जाओ बैग दे देंगे इनको उठा लेते हैं 1 मिनट रुको कचर कहाँ है
she can't walk.
ಇದೇ ರಿಸ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಅದು ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಆಯ್ತು ನೀರು ಬನ್ನಿ
ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಯಲಹಂಕ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಆಂಜನೇಯ ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಬಸ್ ಬಂದ್ರೆ
ಮಾತಾಡ್ಸೋಣ
ಬನ್ನಿ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬನ್ನಿ
kind of difficulties that you've been facing. This is a place which often gets flooded, but there has never been a solution permanently.
Yeah, actually we are looking for the solution. Actually we have consulted this Shiva Prasad also, who is a committee member. So he's looking after all those issues. But still not yet, it's not been resolved. From past 2 weeks we are suffering from this only, but now they are asked us to vacate. So we are vacating and we are looking for the place to stay. It is very difficult to look a place to stay also because so many people are there. It is so tough keeping the children. So we are looking, I asked them to give a permanent solution for this because it will be very tough handling the children, all those things. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Hello. Say me hi. Hi. Sir, please come. Sir, come to the kade bandu. Yes, sir.
English.
English, Hindi, anything is fine. Yeah. Once again. Yes. So the kind of difficulties that you have been facing, it's been weeks together now. This place is completely flooded. I mean, also a working class female, or for that matter, for you also, there should be a lot of hurdles that you are facing right now.
Yeah, from past, especially from past 2 weeks, frequently it is getting flooded. And they have raised next to Kendri Vihar, they have raised by 5 to 10 feet of the field with they leveled up. So it is causing flooding in KV. The MC is doing the great work, but still they can't help.
There's something that you talk about, the kind of the governance that the government, how it is looking after these kind of situations.
No, on emergency basis they are helping us, but there is no permanent solution yet.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you so much.
ಯಾವ್ದೋ ಅವಾಗಲೇ ರಾಜ್ಭವನ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅವಾಗಲೇ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಾ
ಬ್ರದರ್ ಮನೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ
ಮಳೆ ಬಂದಾಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಇದೇ ರೀತಿಯ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಈ ಬಾರಿ ಬಹಳ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಪ್ರಮಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಆಗಿರೋ ಒಂದು ವಾರಗಳ ಕಾಲ ಈ ಒಂದು ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಜಾಗ ಮುಂದೆ ತಗೊಂಡು ಅನೀಶ್
उनको पकड़ के निकलना हो बाबा, जो बुढ़े लोग हैं उनको पकड़ के निकल जाएंगे वो। ठीक है, आ जाओ आ जाओ आ जाओ, ठीक है।
ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರ ನಡಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಹೇಳಿ ಒಂದ್ಸಲ ಸರ್.
डीप नहीं है, डीप है, ನೀಡುತ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ.
बाप के तू भी घास कहाँ पर है? घास खाई थी मछली जालो कहाँ को हुआ
उतना मिल गया मछली जमा हो रहा है. अभी हम लोग ने दिया उसने दे दिया क्या? हमें
पूरा आदमी का है जमा हो रहा है बाद में
पटाना
ಅರ್ಥ ಇಲ್ಲ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂತ ಇದ್ರೆ ಬೇಜಾನ್ ಹಿಡಿದವ್ರೆ ಒಂದಲ್ಲ.
ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂತರ ಹಿಡಿಯೋ ತರ ಮಾಡಿ ಆಗ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ.
ಅಲ್ಲರ
ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ ಬೇಗ.
बात कीजिए.
गाड़ी सर करा हिंदी बोलेगा.
आइए सर, मैं तो तीनों का ही लेने वाली हूँ, एक एक करके पूछूंगी. बैठे
और तಗೊಂಡ್ತೀನಿ.
किनका ले रहे हैं? किनका ले रहे हैं सर का? फिर मैं आती हूँ. सर मैं आपको एक वन सेकेंड ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಿರ್ತೀನಿ, ಹಂಗೆ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಬಿಡ್ಲಿ ಸರ್. 1 मिनट उनको बता देते हैं.
ए भाई
रुको उधर रुको.
आजा आजा आजा. रुको जी.
1 मिनट रुको.
पानी में जा.
आओ जी, तुम्हारा काम बंद नहीं है, अब फिर आओ.
मछली पकड़ रहा, काम बंद हो गए. मछली पकड़ रहा.
हाँ वो साल देखिए वही करेंगे.
अरे भाई तो देख लो. ओपन
भागेगा हाइड करो. पैसा ले
कितना बड़ा है.
हाँ सर, गुड मॉर्निंग सर.
चिल्लाए हो तो बाल्टी
No, this one pothole wala spot I haven't reached, sir. They wanted rain visual, so. ಇಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ರಸ್ತೆ ದಾರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಒಂದು ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತವ್ರು, ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ತಾವ್ರೆ, ಮೀನುಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಹಿಡಿತಾ ಇದಾರೆ. ಸಕ್ಕತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ ವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಲಂಕ ಹತ್ರ ಸರ್, ಗ್ರೇಟ್ ವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ. ಎಷ್ಟು ಮೀನುಗಳಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು 5 kg ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡವ್ರು ಇವರು. ಸಕ್ಕತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ. ಯಲಂಕ ಕೆರೆ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಇದೆ, ಅದು ಫ್ಲಡ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ರೋಡಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಮೀನು ಹಿಡಿತಾವ್ರಿ ಇವರು. ಸಕ್ಕತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ ವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ. BMTC buses are stuck from last night. ಓಕೆ, I'll share the location. ಇಲ್ಲ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. I have sent that person. He said give me 20 minutes ಅಂತ. that RTO guy. ठीक है. His name is Vinesh. So I'm waiting for that contact number. Once he sends, I'll send you across. ನಿಮಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಂದ್ರೆ ಹೇಳಿ ಸರ್. ನೀವು ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ? ಹೌದಾ? ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಯಾವ ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ ನನಗೆ ಕಳಿಸಿ ಸರ್. ಅಷ್ಟೊತ್ತು ನಾನು ಬಂದಿರ್ತೀನಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ. ಡನ್ ಸರ್, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್, ಬಾಯ್. ಕರಿಯಲ್ಲ सर? आ जाइए सर, आ जाइए जल्दी. इधर से
कल 4 बजे से
एक मिनट और माताड़
हिंदी माताड़ಬೇಕಾ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲ ಮೇಡಮ್?
हिंदी.
सर बताइए यहाँ की सिचुएशन कैसी है? यहाँ पर बसेस जो है वो अटकी पड़ी है. कब से हुआ, कैसे हुआ है?
ये कल शाम 4 बजे से बारिश आके इतना पानी लग गया, और कल रात में 7 बजे से बस ऐसा ही लगा है, और पूरा बारिश से हम लोग का काम बंद है. काम करने की नहीं हो रहा. हम लोग मजदूर आदमी इधर, सुबह ड्यूटी आया, अभी रात से ही पानी आके पूरा जाम लगा है दुकान में. हम लोग काम करने के लिए नहीं है. किधर से कमाएंगे, किधर से खाएंगे?
कल 4 बजे से
थोड़ा पीछे जाइए सर. यहाँ पर सिचुएशन कैसी है? क्या क्या तकलीफ?
बहुत खराब है मैडम, बहुत तकलीफ है. मछली भी पकड़ रहा है. कल 4 बजे से पकड़ के कोई भी गवर्नमेंट वाला भी, BBMP वाला भी, कोई भी नहीं आया इधर. वो इधर ड्रेनेज भी 1-2 महीने से रिपेयरिंग करने के लिए पूरा बंद करके पड़ा हुआ है. पूरा ऊपर का तालाब है, तालाब का पानी पूरा रास्ता पे आ रहा है. बहुत प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है इधर पूरा. वो पब्लिक को, सभी को, देखो इधर मकान वाला को पूरा प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है. लेकिन अभी तक कोई भी ऑफिसर भी कोई भी नहीं आया. BBMP वाले इधर कोई किसी को भी एक रेस्पॉन्सिबल ही नहीं है इधर. बहुत खराब है. पूरा मछली पकड़ रहा है. कितना प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है इधर से. कल 4 बजे से अभी तक भी कुछ भी देखो कहाँ रोड पे कोई भी आया नहीं. बहुत मुश्किल हो रहा है सब इधर से. बहुत प्रॉब्लम चल रहा है इधर. रेस्पॉन्सिबल पर्सन कोई भी नहीं है इधर तक अभी भी, कल से भी. थैंक
यू सर, बहुत बढ़िया.
मैडम हमारे लिए
सर पानी कुछ होगा तो फिर हमें
पैसा पानी देंगे. गणेश कुमार
ले क्या तुरंत. कोई भी आके क्या करेगा इधर? पूरा बंद. ये उतना पूरे जो है उतना पानी
इधर ही चल रहा.
ನಿಂತಿರೋ ನೀರಾದ್ರೆ ಹೊರಟೋಗ್ತೈತೆ. ಕೆರೆ ಫುಲ್ಲಾಗಿ ಹೋಗೈತೆ.
ಸಾಕಲ್ಲ, ಇಷ್ಟೇನೆಲ್ಲ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಬೈಕ್ ಐತೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರೋ ಕಡೆ ಬಾಟಲ್ ಇಂಜೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೇವೆ. ಅದು ಬೇಕು.
ಹಲೋ ಹಲೋ ಹಲೋ
ಇಂಜೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್
ಏನ್ ಬರ್ತಿದೆ?
ಬಾಟಲ್ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಹೊಡಿಸ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವರು, ಒಂದು ಎಮ್ಮ ಬಿದ್ದಿರೋದು. ಇದು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅದು ತಗೋಬೇಕು ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಈಗ ದಾರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಾದ್ರೂ ಬಾಟಲ್ ಕಳಿಸ್ಬೇಕು. ಅವ್ನು ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ, ಸಾಕ ಗಾಯತ್ರಿ ಬೇರೆಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗೋದು ಬೇಡ ಅಂತ. ಮೊದಲು ಅವ್ರು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಕಳಿಸೋದು.
ಬಸ್ಸು ತೆಗಿತಾರೆ ಇವಾಗ, ಏನು ಮಾಡೋಣ?
ಈಗ ಬೇಡ ಬಿಡಿ ಸರ್.
ಸಾಕಲ್ವಾ?
ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ರೋಡ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಕೋಟೂರ್ ಜಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ IAF is close to enable rescue. 849 ಹೀಗೆ ಹಾಕಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾ?
ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಸರ್ ಏನೇ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಚಾನಲಲ್ಲೂ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ನಾವು ತೆಗೆದು ಬೇರೆ ಚಾನಲ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಸೊ ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ಟೆಲಿಕಾಸ್ಟ್. ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿ ರೀಜ್ನಲ್ ಬರ್ತಾರಂತೇಳಿ, ರೀಜ್ನಲ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ.
ಹೆಂಗೆ ಇವರು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಮಿಸಸ್ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ
ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆಂದಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ನೂರಾರು ನಿವಾಸಿಗಳನ್ನ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇದ್ದಂತಹ ಲಾಕ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂತಹ ನಿವಾಸಿಗಳನ್ನ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬರುವಂತಹ ಕೆಲಸ ಇಲ್ಲಿನ ರಕ್ಷಣಾ ತಂಡಗಳು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಕಾಯ್ದಾನೆ
ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಇಷ್ಟು ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ರಿಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುವಂತಹ ಯಾವುದೇ ಲಕ್ಷಣಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ಒಂದು ವಾರಗಳ ಕಾಲ ಜನರನ್ನ ಅವರನ್ನ ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ಸ್ಥಳಾಂತರ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಕೂಡ ಮನವಿನ ಸ್ಥಳೀಯ ಶಾಸಕರು ಕೂಡ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರು. ಆ ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ ಕೇಂದ್ರ ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಒಂದು ನಿವಾಸಿಗಳನ್ನ ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗೆ ಬೋಟ್ ಮೂಲಕ NDRF ಸಿಬ್ಬಂದಿಗಳು ಅವರನ್ನ ಮಂದಿರದ ಹೊರಗೆ ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡಲಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆಯಿಂದಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಜನರನ್ನ ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಹೊರಭಾಗದಿಂದ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅವರು ತಮ್ಮ ತಮ್ಮ ಸಂಬಂಧಿಕರಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರನ್ನ ತಿಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಿಕರಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅವರ ಮನೆಗೆ ಹೋಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತೂ ಏನಾದರೂ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಮನವಿ ಮಾಡುವಂತೆ ಓಟ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡಲಾಗಿ ಕೂಡ ಶಾಸಕರು ಬರುವಂತಹ ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಪೂರ್ಣ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದನ್ನ ಮುಂದಿನ ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾದು ನೋಡಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ವಾರಗಳ ಕಾಲ ಎಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತಹ ನಿವಾಸಿಗಳು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಸ್ಥಳಗಳಿಗೆ ತೆರಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ
ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ನಿವಾಸಿಗಳನ್ನ ಕೂಡಲೇ ರಕ್ಷಣೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು.
ಮೇಡಮ್
सर सोलर 15 मिल रहे हैं सर, विजुअल्स मिल रहे हैं सर बेंगलुरु से। हाँ सर ओके
आप बाहर आइए।
सब जगह में है।
ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬನ್ನಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅಲ್ಲ ಇದೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಕೊಡಿ 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 ಸರ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ಈ ಕಡೆ ತೋರಿಸಿ ಮಗುನ ಸರ್ ಈ ಕಡೆ ತೋರಿಸಿ ಸರ್ ಬನ್ನಿ 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 ಸರ್ ಮಗುನ ಇದ್ದಿಸಿ ಮುಂದೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮುಂದೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಎರಡು ಮುಗಿಸ್ತಾವ ಅವನು ಸೈಡ್ ಬಿಡಿ ಸೈಡ್ ಬಿಡಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸೈಡ್ ಬಿಡಿ ಒಳಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಲಗೇಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಬನ್ನಿ ಬನ್ನಿ
बच्चे को दे दीजिए।
ಮಮ್ಮಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಹೋಗಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಹೋಗಿ
ಆಯ್ತಾಯ್ತು ಬನ್ನಿ ನೀವು ಇಡಿ ಇಡಿ
ಓಕೆನಾ ಸರ್ ಹೇಳಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹಿಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಬನ್ನಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಕಿ ನೋಡಿ ಇನ್ನ ಎರಡು ಮೂರು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಸೈಡ್ ಬನ್ನಿ ಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಅದು ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಹಂಗೆ
ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡಿ ಸರ್. ಬೋಟ್ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹಿಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಹಂಗೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬನ್ನಿ, ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬನ್ನಿ, ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬನ್ನಿ, ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬನ್ನಿ.
ಬರ್ಲಿ ಸರ್.
ಬನ್ನಿ, ಇನ್ನು ಮುಂದೆ ಬನ್ನಿ.
ಅವರು ಹೊರ್ತವೆ ಸರ್.
ಬನ್ನಿ, ಇನ್ನು ಮುಂದೆ ಬನ್ನಿ.
ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸೈಡ್ ಆಗಿ, ಇನ್ನೂ ಸೈಡ್ ಆಗಿ, ಇನ್ನೂ ಸೈಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಸರ್. ಇನ್ನೂ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸೈಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಸರ್. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸೈಡ್ ಆಗಿ, ಇನ್ನೂ ಸೈಡ್ ಆಗಿ.
आप कैसे जाएंगे मैडम जी? उधर 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 उधर
सिर्फ आप पहले आ जाओ, बैग दे देंगे हम.
इनको उठा लेते हैं.
1 मिनट रुको.
नजर कहाँ है? फोन
she can't walk.
ಇದೇ ರಿಸ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಗ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತು. ಅದು ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಕಡೆ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲ ಆಯ್ತು, ನೀರು ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಎಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲಿ ಬನ್ನಿ.
ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಯಲಹಂಕ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಆಂಜನೇಯ ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಬಸ್ ಬಂದ್ರೆ
ಮಾತಾಡ್ಸೋಣ.
ಬನ್ನಿ, ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬನ್ನಿ.
Kind of difficulties that you've been facing. This is a place which often gets flooded, but there has never been a solution permanently.
Yeah, actually we are looking for the solution. Actually we have consulted this Shiva Prasad also, who is a committee member. So he's looking after all those issues. But still not yet, it's not been resolved. From past 2 weeks we are suffering from this only, but now they are asked us to vacate. So we are vacating and we are looking for the place to stay. It is very difficult to look a place to stay also because so many people are there. It is so tough keeping the children. So we are looking, like I asked them to give a permanent solution for this because it will be very tough handling the children, all those things. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Hello. Hi. Sir, please come. Sir, come. Sir, ee kade bandide. Yes, sir.
English.
English, Hindi, anything is fine. Yeah. Once again. Yes. So the kind of difficulties that you have been facing, it's been weeks together now. This place is completely flooded. I mean, also a working class female, or for that matter, for you also, there should be a lot of hurdles that you are facing right now.
Yeah, from past, especially from past 2 weeks, frequently it is getting flooded. And they have raised next to Kendri Vihar, they have raised by 5 to 10 feet of the field with they leveled up. So it is causing flooding KV. The MC is doing the great work, but still they can't help.
There's something that you talk about, the kind of and the governance that the government, how it is looking after these kind of situations.
No, on emergency basis they are helping us, but there is no permanent solution yet.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you so much.
ಯಾವ್ದೋ ಅವಾಗಲೇ ರಾಜ್ಭವನ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅವಾಗಲೇ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಾ
ಬ್ರದರ್ ಮನೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ
ಮಳೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ಕೂಡ ಇದೇ ರೀತಿಯ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಈ ಬಾರಿ ಬಹಳ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಪ್ರಮಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಆಗಿರೋ ಒಂದು ವಾರಗಳ ಕಾಲ ಈ ಒಂದು ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಜಾಗ ಮುಂದೆ ತಗೊಂಡು ಅನೀಶ್
सुनो सोमीर उनको पकड़ के निकालना हो बाबा जो बुढ़े लोग हैं उनको पकड़ के जाएंगे वो ठीक है आ जाओ आ जाओ आ जाओ ठीक है
ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರ ನಡಿ ಮತ್ತೆ
पानी है ना
ಹೇಳಿ ಒಂದ್ಸಲ
सर
ಟಿಪಿ ನೈ ಟಿಪಿ ನೀಡುತ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. बाप के पूंजी घास कहाँ पर है? जालो कहाँ को हुआ उतना मिल गए मछली जमा हो रहा है. अभी हम लोग को दिया उसने दे दिया क्या? हमें लोग का है पूरा आदमी का है जमा हो रहा है बाद में. पटाना पटाना ಇಲ್ಲ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂತ ಇದ್ರೆ ಬೇಜಾನ್ ಹಿಡ್ದವ್ರು ಒಂದಲ್ಲ
ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂತರ ಹಿಡಿಯೋ ತರ ಮಾಡಿ ಆಗ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ.
ಅಲ್ಲರ
ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ ಬೇಗ.
बात कीजिए. गाड़ी सर करा हिंदी बोलेगा.
आइए सर, मैं तो तीनों का ही लेने वाली हूँ, एक एक करके पूछूंगी. बैठे
और तಗೊಂಡ್ತೀನಿ.
किनका लेना, किनका ले लेते हैं सर का, फिर मैं आती हूँ. सर मैं आपको एक वन सेकेंड ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಿರ್ತೀನಿ, ಹಂಗೆ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಬಿಡ್ಲಿ ಸರ್. 1 मिनट उनको बता देते हैं.
ए भाई रुको 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 उधर रुको. आजा आजा आजा.
आपको दिया है तो आपको 2-3 बड़ा रख दिया है।
रुको जी,
एक मिनट रुको।
पानी में
खड़ा आगे में जरा आओ जी, तुम्हारा काम बंद नहीं है, अब फिर आओ।
मंजिल पकड़ रहा, काम बंद हो गए, मंजिल पकड़ रहा।
हाँ वो साल देखिए वही करेंगे।
अरे भाई तो देख लो, ओपन
भागेगा हाइड करो
पैसा ले भाई
ये
कितना बड़ा है।
हाँ सर, गुड मॉर्निंग सर।
चिल्लाए हो तो बात
No, this one pothole wala spot I haven't reached. They wanted rain visual, so. ಇಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ರಸ್ತೆ ದಾರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಒಂದು ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತವ್ರು, ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ತವ್ರೆ, ಮೀನುಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಹಿಡಿತಾ ಇದಾರೆ. ಸಕ್ಕತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ ವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಲಂಕ ಹತ್ರ ಸರ್, ಗ್ರೇಟ್ ವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ. ಎಷ್ಟು ಮೀನುಗಳಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು 5 kg ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡವ್ರು ಇವರು. ಸಕ್ಕತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ. ಯಲಂಕ ಕೆರೆ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಇದೆ, ಅದು ಫ್ಲಡ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ರೋಡಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಮೀನು ಹಿಡಿತಾವ್ರಿ ಇವರು. ಸಕ್ಕತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ ವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ. BMTC ಬಸ್ಸಸ್ ಆರ್ ಸ್ಟಕ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ನೈಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಶೇರ್ ಲೊಕೇಶನ್. ಇಲ್ಲ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ ದಟ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್, ಈ ಸೆಡ್ ಗಿವ್ ಮಿ 20 minutes ಅಂತ. ದಟ್ RTO guy. ठीक है, his name is Vinesh. So I'm waiting for that contact number. Once he sends, I'll send you across. ನಿಮಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಂದ್ರೆ ಹೇಳಿ ಸರ್. ನೀವು ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ? ಹೌದಾ, ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಯಾವ ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ ನನಗೆ ಕಳಿಸಿ ಸರ್. ಅಷ್ಟೊತ್ತು ನಾನು ಬಂದಿರ್ತೀನಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ. ಡನ್ ಸರ್, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್, ಬಾಯ್. ಕರಿಯಲ್ಲ सर, आ जाइए सर, आ जाइए
आइए
इधर से कल 4 बजे से
एक मिनट
एक मिनट
और माताडली.
हिंदी माताडಬೇಕಾ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲ ಮೇಡಮ್?
हिंदी
सर बताइए यहाँ की सिचुएशन कैसी है? यहाँ पर बसेस जो है वो अटकी पड़ी है. कब से हुआ, कैसे हुआ है?
ये कल शाम 4 बजे से बारिश आके इतना पानी लग गया, और कल रात में 7 बजे से बस ऐसा ही लगा है, और पूरा बारिश से हम लोग का काम बंद है. काम करने की नहीं हो रहा. हम लोग मजदूर आदमी इधर, सुबह ड्यूटी आए, अभी रात से ही पानी आके पूरा जाम लगा है दुकान में. हम लोग काम करने के लिए नहीं है, किधर से कमाएंगे किधर से खाएंगे.
कल 4 बजे से
थोड़ा पीछे जाइए सर. यहाँ पर सिचुएशन कैसी है, क्या क्या तकलीफ?
बहुत खराब है मैडम, बहुत तकलीफ है. हाँ, मछली भी पकड़ रहा है. कल 4 बजे से पकड़ के कोई भी गवर्नमेंट वाला भी, BBMP वाला भी कोई भी नहीं आया इधर. वो इधर ड्रेनेज भी 1-2 महीने से रिपेयरिंग करने के लिए पूरा बंद करके पड़ा हुआ है. पूरा ऊपर का तालाब है, तालाब का पानी पूरा रास्ता पे आ रहा है. बहुत प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है इधर पूरा. वो पब्लिक को, सभी को, हमारे देखो इधर मकान वाला को पूरा प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है. लेकिन अभी तक कोई भी ऑफिसर भी कोई भी नहीं आया. BBMP वाला इधर कोई किसी को भी एक रेस्पॉन्सिबल ही नहीं है इधर. बहुत खराब है, पूरा मछली पकड़ रहा है. कितना प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है इधर से. कल 4 बजे से अभी तक भी कुछ भी देखो, गाँव रोड पे कोई भी आया नहीं. बहुत मुश्किल हो रहा है सब इधर से. बहुत प्रॉब्लम चल रहा है इधर. रेस्पॉन्सिबल पर्सन कोई भी नहीं है इधर तक अभी भी, कल से भी.
थैंक यू सर, बहुत बढ़िया.
मैडम हमारे लिए
कौन सा है सर? पानी 200 होगा तो फिर हमें मत
पानी देंगे. ಗಾಡಿ ಎತ್ಕೊಂಬ ನಾನು ಹೋಗಿ
लेके आओ तुरंत कोई भी आके क्या करेगा इधर और पूरा बंद ये उतना फुटेज है उतना कैमरा बंद
ಇದು ಹರಿತಾ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ಲ
ನಿಂತಿರೋ ನೀರಾದ್ರೆ ಹೊರಟೋಗ್ತೈತೆ
ಸಾಕಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ನೇನೆಲ್ಲ ಕಳ್ಸಿದ್ವಿ ಬೈಕ್ ಐತೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರೋ ಕಡೆ ಬಾಟಲ್ ಇಂಜೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಬರ್ತಿದೆ ಅದು ಬೇಕು
ಹಲೋ 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 ಏನ್ ಬರ್ತಿದೆ
ವಾಟರ್ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಹೊಡಿಸ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವರು ಒಂದು ಎಮ್ಮ ಬಿದ್ದಿರೋದು ಈಗ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅದು ತಗೋಬೇಕು ಅಂತಾರೆ ಈಗ ದಾರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾದ್ರು ವಾಟರ್ ಒಂದು ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ ಸಾಕ ಗಾಯತ್ರಿ ಬೇರೆಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗೋದು ಬೇಡ ಅಂತ ಮೊದಲು ಅವ್ರು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಕಳಿಸೋದು
ಬಸ್ಸು ತೆಗಿತಾರೆ ಇವಾಗ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡೋದು
ಈಗ ಬೇಡ ಬಿಡಿ ಸರ್
ಸಾಕಲ್ವಾ
ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ರೋಡ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಕೋಟೂರ್ ಜಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ IAF is close to enable rescue 849 ಹೀಗೆ ಹಾಕಿರೋ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾ
ಯಾವ ಸರಿ
ಸರ್ ಏನೇ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಚಾನಲಲ್ಲೂ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ನಾವು ತೆಗ್ದು ಬೇರೆ ಚಾನಲ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲ ಟೆಲಿಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿ ರೀಜ್ನವ್ರು ಬರ್ತಾರಂತೇಳಿ ರೀಜ್ನವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ
ಹೆಂಗೆ ಇವರು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಮಿಸಸ್ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾ
ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆಗೋಸ್ಕರ ನೂರಾರು ನಿವಾಸಿಗಳನ್ನ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇದ್ದಂತಹ ಲಾಕ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂತಹ ನಿವಾಸಿಗಳನ್ನ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ತರುವಂತಹ ಕೆಲಸ ಇಲ್ಲಿನ ರಕ್ಷಣಾ ತಂಡಗಳು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಕಾಯ್ದಾನೆ
एड्रेस हिस्ट्री करते
ವಿಹಾರ ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ವಲಸೆ ಬಂದು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುವಂತಹ ಅವಕಾಶಗಳು ಕೂಡ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಆ ಒಂದು ಒಂದು ವಾರಗಳ ಕಾಲ ಕೇಂದ್ರೀಯ ಜನರನ್ನ ಅವರನ್ನ ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ಸ್ಥಳಾಂತರ ಮಾಡುವುದಕ್ಕೆ ಮನವಿನ ಸ್ಥಳೀಯ ಶಾಸಕರು ಕೂಡ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಆ ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ ಕೇಂದ್ರೀಯ ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಒಂದು ನಿವಾಸಿಗಳನ್ನ ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗೆ ಬೋಟ್ ಮೂಲಕ NDRF ಸಿಬ್ಬಂದಿಗಳು ಅವರನ್ನ ಮನೆಗಳ ಹೊರಗೆ ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡಲಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆಯಿಂದಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಜನರನ್ನ ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಹೊರಭಾಗದಿಂದ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅವರು ತಮ್ಮ ತಮ್ಮ ಸಂಬಂಧಿಕರಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರನ್ನ ತಿಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಿಕರಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅವರ ಮನೆಗೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತೂ ಏನಾದರೂ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಮನವಿ ಮಾಡುವಂಥ ಓಟ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡೋದಾಗಿ ಕೂಡ ಶಾಸಕರು ಭರವಸೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಪೂರ್ಣ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದನ್ನ ಮುಂದಿನ ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ವಾರಗಳ ಕಾಲ ಎಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತಹ ನಿವಾಸಿಗಳು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಸ್ಥಳಗಳಿಗೆ ತೆರಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ
ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ನಿವಾಸಿಗಳನ್ನ ಕೂಡಲೇ ರಕ್ಷಣೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು.
ಮೇಡಮ್
सर सर्वर 15 मिल रहे हैं सर, वीडियोस मिल रहे हैं सर, हाँ सर ओके
आप बाहर आइए.
सब जगह में है.
ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬನ್ನಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹಳ್ಳ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಈ ಕಡೆ ಕೊಡಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ಈ ಕಡೆ ತೋರಿಸಿ ಮಗುನ ಸರ್, ಈ ಕಡೆ ತೋರಿಸಿ ಸರ್. ಬನ್ನಿ ಬನ್ನಿ ಸರ್, ಮಗುನ ಇದ್ದಿಸಿ
ಮುಂದೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ
ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ
ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಒಂದು 2-3 ಅವನು ಸೈಡ್ ಬಿಡಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸೈಡ್ ಬಿಡಿ ಒಳಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಲಗೇಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ಬನ್ನಿ ಬನ್ನಿ
बच्चे को दे दीजिए
ಮಮ್ಮಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಹೋಗಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಹೋಗಿ
ಆಯ್ತಾಯ್ತು ಬನ್ನಿ ನೀವು ಇಡಿ ಇಡಿ
ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹಿಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಬನ್ನಿ ಹಾಕಿ ನೋಡಿ ಇನ್ನ 2-3 ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಸೈಡ್ ಬನ್ನಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಅದು ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಹಂಗೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾಳೆ 2 ಬಾಟು ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾಳೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡಿ ಸರ್ ಬೋಟ್ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹಿಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಹಂಗೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬನ್ನಿ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬನ್ನಿ
ಬರ್ಲಿ ಸರ್
ಬನ್ನಿ ಮುಂದೆ ಬನ್ನಿ
ಅವರು ಹೋಗ್ತವೆ ಸರ್
ಹಾಗೆ ಮುಂದೆ ಬನ್ನಿ ಹಾಂ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್
ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸೈಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಇನ್ನೂ ಸೈಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಇನ್ನೂ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸೈಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಸರ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸೈಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಇನ್ನೂ ಸೈಡ್ ಆಗಿ
आप कैसे जाएंगे मैडम उधर 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 उधर
सिर्फ आप पहले आ जाओ बैग दे देंगे इनको उठा लेते हैं 1 मिनट रुको स्ट्रेचर कहाँ है फोन
she can't walk
ಇದೇ ರಿಸ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಗ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಅದು ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಆಯ್ತು ನೀಟ್ ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಬನ್ನಿ
ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಯಲಹಂಕ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಆಂಜನೇಯ ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಬಸ್ ಬಂದ್ರೆ
ಮಾತಾಡ್ಸೋಣ
ಬನ್ನಿ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬನ್ನಿ
kind of difficulties that you've been facing, this is a place which often gets flooded, but there has never been a solution permanently.
Actually we are looking for the solution. Actually we have consulted this Shiva Prasad also, who is a committee member. So he's looking after all those issues. But still not yet, it's not been resolved. From past 2 weeks we are suffering from this only, but now they are asked us to vacate. So we are vacating and we are looking for the place to stay. It is very difficult to look a place to stay also because so many people are there. It is so tough keeping the children. So we are looking, like I asked them to give a permanent solution for this because it will be very tough handling the children, all those things. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Hello. Say me hi. Hi. Sir, please come. Sir, come. Sir, ee kade bandida. Yes, sir.
English.
English, Hindi, anything is fine. Once again. Yes. So the kind of difficulties that you have been facing, it's been weeks together now. This place is completely flooded. I mean, also a working class female, or for that matter, for you also, there should be a lot of hurdles that you're facing right now.
Yeah, especially from past 2 weeks, frequently it is getting flooded. And they have raised next to Kendri Vihar, they have raised by 5 to 10 feet of they're filled with they're leveled up, so it is causing flooding KV. The MC is doing the great work, but still they can't help.
There's something that you talk about, the kind of and the governance that the government, how it is looking after these kind of situations.
No, on emergency basis they are helping us, but there is no permanent solution yet.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you so much.
ಯಾವ್ದೋ ಅವಾಗಲೇ ರಾಜ್ಭವನ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅವಾಗಲೇ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಾ
ಬ್ರದರ್ ಮನೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ
ಮಳೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ಕೂಡ ಇದೇ ರೀತಿಯ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಈ ಬಾರಿ ಬಹಳ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಪ್ರಮಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಆಗಿರೋ 1 ವಾರಗಳ ಕಾಲ ಈ ಒಂದು ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಜಾಗ ಮುಂದೆ ತಗೊಂಡು
ಅನೀಶ್
सुनो सोमीरा उनको पकड़ के निकलना हो बाबा, जो बुढ़े लोग हैं उनको पकड़ के जाएंगे वो। ठीक है, आ जाओ आ जाओ आ जाओ, ठीक है।
ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರ ನಡೀರಿ ಮತ್ತೆ
पानी है ना
ಕೇಳಿ ಒಂದ್ಸಲ
सर।
ಟಿಪಿ ನೈ ಟಿಪಿ ನೀಡುತ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. बाप के पूंजी घास कहाँ पर है? जालो कहाँ को उतना मिल गए मछली जमा हो रहा है. अभी हम लोग को दिया उसने दे दिया क्या? हमें पूरा आदमी का है जमा हो रहा है बाद में. पटाना
ಆರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇಟ್ಕೊಂತ ಇದ್ರೆ ಬೇಜಾನ್ ಹಿಡ್ದವ್ರು ಒಂದಲ್ಲ.
ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂತರ ಹಿಡಿಯೋ ತರ ಮಾಡಿ ಆಗ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ.
ಅಲ್ಲರ
ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ ಬೇಗ.
बात कीजिए.
गाड़ी सर करा
हिंदी बोलेगा.
आइए सर, मैं तो तीनों का ही लेने वाली हूँ, एक एक करके पूछूंगी. बैठे
और तಗೊಂಡ್ತೀನಿ.
किनका लेना है? इनका ले लेते हैं सर का, फिर मैं आती हूँ. सर मैं आपको एक मिनट 1 सेकेंड ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಿರ್ತೀನಿ, ಹಂಗೆ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಬಿಡ್ಲಿ ಸರ್. 1 मिनट उनको बता देते हैं.
ए भाई रुको रुको रुको, उधर रुको. आजा आजा आजा. रुको रुको जी.
1 मिनट रुको रुको रुको.
पानी में करा. आगे बेचारा आओ जी, तुम्हारा काम बंद नहीं है, अब फिर आओ. मंजिल पकड़, काम बंद हो गए. मंजिल पकड़. हाँ वो साल देखिए वही करेंगे. अरे भाई तो देख लो. ओपन ओपन भागेगा. हाइड करो. पैसा ले भाई. ये कितना बड़ा बड़ा है.
हाँ सर, गुड मॉर्निंग सर.
चिल्लाए हो तो बात
No, this one pothole wala spot I haven't reached. They wanted rain visual, so. ಇಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ರಸ್ತೆ ದಾರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಒಂದು ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತವ್ರು, ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ತಾವ್ರೆ, ಮೀನುಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಹಿಡಿತಾ ಇದಾರೆ. ಸಕ್ಕತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ ವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಲಂಕ ಹತ್ರ ಸರ್, ಗ್ರೇಟ್ ವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ. ಎಷ್ಟು ಮೀನುಗಳಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು 5 kg ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡವ್ರು ಇವರು. ಸಕ್ಕತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ. ಯಲಂಕ ಕೆರೆ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಇದೆ, ಅದು ಫ್ಲಡ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ರೋಡಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಮೀನು ಹಿಡ್ತಾವ್ರಿ ಇವರು. ಸಕ್ಕತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ ವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ. BMTC ಬಸ್ಸಸ್ ಆರ್ ಸ್ಟಕ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ನೈಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಶೇರ್ ಲೊಕೇಶನ್. ಇಲ್ಲ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸೆಂಟ್ ದಟ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್. ಈ ಸೆಡ್ ಗಿವ್ ಮಿ 20 minutes ಅಂತ. ದಟ್ RTO guy. ठीक है. His name is Vinesh. So I'm waiting for that contact number. Once he sends, I'll send you across. ನಿಮಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಂದ್ರೆ ಹೇಳಿ ಸರ್. ನೀವು ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ? ಹೌದಾ, ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಯಾವ ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ ನನಗೆ ಕಳಿಸಿ ಸರ್, ಅಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಗೆ ನಾನು ಬಂದಿರ್ತೀನಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ. ಡನ್ ಸರ್, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್, ಬಾಯ್. ಕರಿಯಲ್ಲ सर आ जाइए, सर आ जाइए, आ जाइए, आइए सर, इधर से आ जाओ।
कल 4 बजे से
एक मिनट और माताड़ लिखो।
हिंदी माताड़ಬೇಕು ಕನ್ನಡ ಮೇಡಮ್?
हिंदी हिंदी।
सर बताइए यहाँ की सिचुएशन कैसी है? यहाँ पर बसेस जो है वो अटकी पड़ी है, कब से हुआ, कैसे हुआ है?
ये कल शाम 4 बजे से बारिश आके इतना पानी लग गया और कल रात में 7 बजे से बस ऐसा ही लगा है और पूरा बारिश से हम लोग का काम बंद है। काम करने की नहीं हो रहा। हम लोग मजदूर आदमी इधर, सुबह ड्यूटी आया, अभी रात से ही पानी आके पूरा जाम लगा है दुकान में। हम लोग काम करने के लिए नहीं है, किधर से कमाएंगे किधर से खाएंगे।
कल 4 बजे से
थोड़ा पीछे जाइए सर। यहाँ पर सिचुएशन कैसी है, क्या क्या तकलीफ?
बहुत खराब है मैडम, बहुत तकलीफ है। हाँ, मछली भी पकड़ रहा है। कल 4 बजे से पकड़ के कोई भी गवर्नमेंट वाला भी बीबीएमपी वाला भी कोई भी नहीं आया इधर। वो इधर ड्रेनेज भी 1-2 महीने से रिपेयरिंग करने के लिए पूरा बंद करके पड़ा हुआ है। पूरा ऊपर का तालाब है, तालाब का पानी पूरा रास्ता पे आ रहा है। बहुत प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है इधर पूरा। वो पब्लिक को, सभी को, हमारे देखो इधर मकान वाला को पूरा प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है। लेकिन अभी तक कोई भी ऑफिसर भी कोई भी नहीं आया बीबीएमपी वाला इधर, कोई किसी को भी एक रेस्पॉन्सिबल ही नहीं है इधर। बहुत खराब है, पूरा मछली पकड़ रहा है। कितना प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है इधर से। कल 4 बजे से अभी तक भी कुछ भी देखो गाँव रोड पे कोई भी आया नहीं। बहुत मुश्किल हो रहा है सब इधर से, बहुत प्रॉब्लम चल रहा है इधर। रेस्पॉन्सिबल पर्सन कोई भी नहीं है इधर तक अभी भी, कल से भी। थैंक
यू सर, बहुत बढ़िया।
मैडम हमारे लेआउट थोड़ा है
सर, पानी 200 होगा तो फिर हमें
पानी देंगे गाड़ी घुमाना
ले क्या तुरंत। कोई भी आके क्या करेगा इधर? वो पूरा बंद। ये उतना है उतना पानी
ಹರಿತಾ ಇದ್ದಲ್ಲ,
ನಿಂತಿರೋ ನೀರಾದ್ರೆ ಹೊರಟೋಗ್ತೈತೆ.
ಸಾಕಲ್ಲ, ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಬೈಕ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರೋ ಕಡೆ ಬಾಟಲ್ ಇಂಜೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದೆ, ಅದು ಲೀಕ್
ಹಲೋ 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 ಏನ್ ಬರ್ತಿಲ್ಲ?
ವಾಟರ್ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಓಡಿಸ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವರು. ಒಂದು ಅಮ್ಮ ಬಿದ್ದಿರೋದು ಇದು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅದು ತಗೋಬೇಕು ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಈಗ ದಾರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಾದ್ರೂ ವಾಟರ್ ನಾನು ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ, ಸಾಕ ಗಾಯತ್ರಿ ಬೇರೆಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗೋದು ಬೇಡ ಅಂತ. ಮೊದಲು ಅವ್ರು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಕಳಿಸೋದು.
ಬಸ್ಸು ತೆಗಿತಾರೆ ಇವಾಗ, ಏನು ಮಾಡೋಣ?
ಈಗ ಬೇಡ ಬಿಡಿ ಸರ್,
ಸಾಕಲ್ವಾ?
ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ರೋಡ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಕೋಟೂರ್ ಜಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ IAF is close to enable rescue. 849 ಹೀಗೆ ಹಾಕಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾ?
ಯಾವ ನೀರು ಸರಿ
ಸರ್ ಏನೇ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಚಾನಲಲ್ಲೂ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ನಾವು ತೆಗ್ದು ಬೇರೆ ಚಾನಲ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಟೆಲಿಕಾಸ್ಟ್. ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿ, ರೀಜ್ನವ್ರು ಬರ್ತಾರಂತೇಳಿ, ರೀಜ್ನವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ಹೆಂಗೆ ಇವರು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಹೋಗಿ
ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆಂದಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ನೂರಾರು ನಿವಾಸಿಗಳನ್ನ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇದ್ದಂತಹ ಲಾಕ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂತಹ ನಿವಾಸಿಗಳನ್ನ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬರುವಂತಹ ಕೆಲಸ ಇಲ್ಲಿನ ರಕ್ಷಣಾ ತಂಡಗಳು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಕಾಯ್ದಾನೆ
ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಇಷ್ಟು ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ
ರಿಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಒಂದು ವಾರಗಳ ಕಾಲ ಅವರನ್ನ ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ಸ್ಥಳಾಂತರ ಮಾಡುವಂತ ಮನವಿನ ಸ್ಥಳೀಯ ಶಾಸಕರು ಕೂಡ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಆ ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗೆ ಬೋಟ್ ಮೂಲಕ NDRF ಸಿಬ್ಬಂದಿಗಳು ಅವರನ್ನ ಹೊರಗೆ ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡಲಾಗ್ತದೆ. ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆಯಿಂದಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಜನರನ್ನ ಹೊರಭಾಗದಿಂದ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅವರು ತಮ್ಮ ಸಂಬಂಧಿಕರಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರನ್ನ ತಿಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಿಕರಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅವರ ಮನೆಗೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತೂ ಏನಾದರೂ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಮನವಿ ಮಾಡುವಂಥ ಓಟ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡೋದಾಗಿ ಕೂಡ ಶಾಸಕರು ಭರವಸೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಪೂರ್ಣ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದನ್ನ ಮುಂದಿನ ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ವಾರಗಳ ಕಾಲ ಎಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತಹ ನಿವಾಸಿಗಳು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಸ್ಥಳಗಳಿಗೆ ತೆರಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ
ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ನಿವಾಸಿಗಳನ್ನ ಕೂಡಲೇ ರಕ್ಷಣೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು.
ಮೇಡಮ್
सर सर्वर 15 मिल रहे हैं सर, विजुअल्स मिल रहे हैं सर, हाँ सर, ओके
सब जगह में है
ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬನ್ನಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹಳ್ಳ ಇದೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ. ಈ ಕಡೆ ಕೊಡಿ
ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ಈ ಕಡೆ ತೋರಿಸಿ ಮಗುನ ಸರ್ ಈ ಕಡೆ ತೋರಿಸಿ ಸರ್
ಬನ್ನಿ ಬನ್ನಿ
ಸರ್ ಮಗುನ ಇಲ್ಲಿಸಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಎರಡು ಮುಗಿಸ್ತಾವ ಅವನು ಸೈಡ್ ಬಿಡಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸೈಡ್ ಬಿಡಿ ಒಳಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಲಗೇಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ
ಬನ್ನಿ
बच्चे को दे दीजिए
ಮಮ್ಮಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಹೋಗಿ
ಆಯ್ತಾಯ್ತು ಬನ್ನಿ ನೀವು ಇರಿ
ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹಿಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಬನ್ನಿ, ನೋಡಿ ಇನ್ನ ಎರಡು ಮೂರು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಸೈಡ್ ಬನ್ನಿ, ಹೋಗಿ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಅದು ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಹಂಗೆ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾಳೆ ಎರಡು ಬಾಡು ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾಳೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡಿ ಸರ್, ಬೋಟ್ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹಿಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಹಂಗೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬನ್ನಿ
ಬರ್ಲಿ ಸರ್
ಬನ್ನಿ ಮುಂದೆ ಬನ್ನಿ
ಅವರು ಹೋಗ್ತವೆ ಸರ್
ಹಾಗೆ ಮುಂದೆ ಬನ್ನಿ ಹಾಂ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್
ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸೈಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಇನ್ನೂ ಸೈಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಇನ್ನೂ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸೈಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಸರ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸೈಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಇನ್ನೂ ಸೈಡ್ ಆಗಿ
आप कैसे जाएंगे मैडम जी? उधर
सिर्फ आप पहले आ जाओ, बैग दे देंगे इनको उठा लेते हैं। 1 मिनट रुको, स्ट्रेचर कहाँ है? फोन
she can't walk
ಇದೇ ರಿಸ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಟಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಅದು ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಕಡೆ ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲ ಆಯ್ತು, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಬನ್ನಿ.
ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಯಲಹಂಕ ಓಲ್ಡ್ ಆಂಜನೇಯ ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಬಸ್ ಬಂದ್ರೆ
ಬನ್ನಿ, ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬನ್ನಿ.
Kind of difficulties that you have been facing. This is a place which often gets flooded, but there has never been a solution permanently.
Actually we are looking for the solution. Actually we have consulted this Shiva Prasad also, who is a committee member. So he's looking after all those issues. But still not yet, it's not been resolved. From past 2 weeks we are suffering from this only, but now they are asked us to vacate. So we are vacating and we are looking for the place to stay. It is very difficult to look a place to stay also because so many people are there. It is so tough keeping the children. So we are looking, like I asked them to give a permanent solution for this because it will be very tough handling the children, all those things. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Hello. Hi. Sir, please come. Sir, come. Sir, ee kade bandida. Yes, sir.
English.
English, Hindi, anything is fine. Yeah. Once again. Yes. So the kind of difficulties that you have been facing, it's been weeks together now. This place is completely flooded. I mean, also a working class female, or for that matter, for you also, there should be a lot of hurdles that you are facing right now.
Yeah, especially from past 2 weeks, frequently it is getting flooded. And they have raised next to Kendri Vihar, they have raised by 5 to 10 feet of the field with they leveled up. So it is causing flooding KV. The MC is doing the great work, but still they can't help.
There's something that you talk about, the kind of and the governance that the government, how it is looking after these kind of situations.
No, on emergency basis they are helping us, but there is no permanent solution yet.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you so much.
ಯಾವ್ದೋ ಅವಾಗಲೇ ರಾಜ್ಭವನ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅವಾಗಲೇ ಕೇಳ್ಬೇಕಾ
ಬ್ರದರ್ ಮನೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬಾರಿ ಮಳೆ ಬಂದಾಗಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಇದೇ ರೀತಿಯ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಈ ಬಾರಿ ಬಹಳ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಪ್ರಮಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಆಗಿರೋ ಒಂದು ವಾರಗಳ ಕಾಲ ಈ ಒಂದು ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಜಾಗ ಮುಂದೆ ತಗೊಂಡು ಅನೀಶ್
सुनो सोमीर राहुल को पकड़ के निकालना हो बाबा जो बुढ़े लोग हैं उनको पकड़ के जाएंगे वो ठीक है आ जाओ आ जाओ आ जाओ ठीक है
ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರ ನಡಿ ಮತ್ತೆ
पानी है ना
ಹೇಳಿ ಒಂದ್ಸಲ
सर
ನೀಡುತ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. तो आपके खूबी घास कहाँ पर है? घास खाई मछली हजारों कहाँ है कौआ? उतने मिल गए मछली जमा हो रहा है. अभी हम लोग ने दिया उसने दे दिया क्या? अब हमें पूरा आदमी का है जमा हो रहा है बाद में. पटाना ಅರ್ಥ ಇಲ್ಲ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂತ ಇದ್ರೆ ಬೇಜಾನ್ ಹಿಡಿದವ್ರೆ ಒಂದಲ್ಲ.
ತಗೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂತರ ಹಿಡಿಯೋ ತರ ಮಾಡಿ ಆಗ್ಲೇ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ.
ಅಲ್ಲರ
ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ ಬೇಗ.
बात कीजिए.
गाड़ी सर करा हिंदी बोलेगा.
आइए सर, मैं तो तीनों का ही लेने वाली हूँ, एक एक करके पूछूंगी. बैठे
और तಗೊಂಡ್ತೀನಿ.
किनका लेना, किनका ले लेंगे सर का, फिर मैं आती हूँ. सर मैं आपको एक मिनट 1 सेकेंड ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಿರ್ತೀನಿ, ಹಂಗೆ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಬಿಡ್ಲಿ ಸರ್. 1 मिनट उनको बता देते हैं.
ए भाई
रुको उधर रुको.
आजा
आप रख दिए.
रुको जी.
1 मिनट रुको.
पानी में खराब. आगे बेचारा आओ जी, तुम्हारा काम बंद नहीं है, अब फिर आओ. मस्जिद पकड़ रहा, काम बंद हो गए. मस्जिद पकड़ रहा. हाँ वो साल देखिए वही करेंगे.
अरे भाई तो देख लो. ओपन
भागेगा. हाइड करो.
पैसा ले भाई.
ये है
कितना बड़ा है.
हाँ सर, गुड मॉर्निंग सर.
चिल्लाए हो तो बाल्टी
No, this one pothole wala spot I haven't reached. They wanted rain visual, so. ಇಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ರಸ್ತೆ ದಾರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಒಂದು ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತವ್ರು, ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ತಾವ್ರೆ, ಮೀನುಗಳನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಹಿಡಿತಾ ಇದಾರೆ. ಸಕ್ಕತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ ವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಲಂಕ ಹತ್ರ ಸರ್, ಗ್ರೇಟ್ ವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ. ಎಷ್ಟು ಮೀನುಗಳಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು 5 kg ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡವ್ರು ಇವರು. ಸಕ್ಕತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ. ಯಲಂಕ ಕೆರೆ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಇದೆ, ಅದು ಫ್ಲಡ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ರೋಡಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ಮೀನು ಹಿಡಿತಾವ್ರಿ ಇವರು. ಸಕ್ಕತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ ವಿಜುವಲ್ಸ್ ಮಾತ್ರ. BMTC buses are stuck from last night. Okay, I'll share the location. ಇಲ್ಲ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. I have sent that person. He said give me 20 minutes ಅಂತ. that RTO guy. ठीक है. His name is Vinesh. So I'm waiting for that contact number. Once he sends, I'll send you across. ನಿಮಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತಂದ್ರೆ ಹೇಳಿ ಸರ್. ನೀವು ಹೋಗ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ? ಹೌದಾ? ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಯಾವ ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ ನನಗೆ ಕಳಿಸಿ ಸರ್. ಅಷ್ಟೊತ್ತು ನಾನು ಬಂದಿರ್ತೀನಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ. ಡನ್ ಸರ್, ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ಸ್, ಬಾಯ್. ಕರಿಯಲ್ಲ सर? आ जाइए सर, आ जाइए जल्दी. इधर से
कल 4 बजे से
एक मिनट और माताड़
हिंदी माताड़ಬೇಕಾ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲ ಮೇಡಮ್?
हिंदी.
सर बताइए यहाँ की सिचुएशन कैसी है? यहाँ पर बसेस जो है वो अटकी पड़ी है. कब से हुआ, कैसे हुआ है?
ये कल शाम 4 बजे से बारिश आके इतना पानी लग गया, और कल रात में 7 बजे से बस ऐसा ही लगा है, और पूरा बारिश से हम लोग का काम बंद है. काम करने की नहीं हो रहा. हम लोग मजदूर आदमी इधर, सुबह ड्यूटी आया, अभी रात से ही पानी आके पूरा जाम लगा है दुकान में. हम लोग काम करने के लिए नहीं है. किधर से कमाएंगे, किधर से खाएंगे?
कल 4 बजे से
थोड़ा पीछे जाइए सर. यहाँ पर सिचुएशन कैसी है? क्या क्या तकलीफ?
बहुत खराब है मैडम, बहुत तकलीफ है. मछली भी पकड़ रहा है. कल 4 बजे से पकड़ के कोई भी गवर्नमेंट वाला भी, BBMP वाला भी, कोई भी नहीं आया इधर. वो इधर ड्रेनेज भी 1-2 महीने से रिपेयरिंग करने के लिए पूरा बंद करके पड़ा हुआ है. पूरा ऊपर का तालाब है, तालाब का पानी पूरा रास्ता पे आ रहा है. बहुत प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है इधर पूरा. वो पब्लिक को, सभी को, देखो इधर मकान वाला को पूरा प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है. लेकिन अभी तक कोई भी ऑफिसर भी कोई भी नहीं आया. BBMP वाले इधर कोई किसी को भी एक रेस्पॉन्सिबल ही नहीं है इधर. बहुत खराब है. पूरा मछली पकड़ रहा है. कितना प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है इधर से. कल 4 बजे से अभी तक भी कुछ भी देखो गाँव रोड पे कोई भी आया नहीं. बहुत मुश्किल हो रहा है सब इधर से. बहुत प्रॉब्लम चल रहा है इधर. रेस्पॉन्सिबल पर्सन कोई भी नहीं है इधर तक अभी भी, कल से भी. थैंक
यू सर. बहुत बढ़िया
मैडम. हमारे लिए
सर पानी कुछ होगा तो फिर हमें
पानी देंगे.
लेके आओ तुरंत.
कोई भी आके क्या करेगा इधर? पूरा बंद. ये उतना सुबह से है, उतना कमरा पानी.
ನಿಂತಿರೋ ನೀರಾದ್ರೆ ಹೊರಟೋಗ್ತೈತೆ. ಕೆರೆ ಫುಲ್ಲಾಗೋಗೈತೆ.
ಸಾಕಲ್ಲ ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಬೈಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳ್ತಿರೋ ಕಡೆ ಬಾಟಲ್ ಇಂಜೆಕ್ಟೆಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಅದು ಬೇಕು.
हेलो हेलो हेलो
ಏನು ಬರ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಬಾಟಲ್ ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಹೊಡಿಸ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವರು. ಒಂದು ಎಮ್ಮ ಬಿದ್ದಿರೋದು. ಇದು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅದು ತಗೋಬೇಕು ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲ ದಾರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಾದ್ರೂ ಆಟೋ ಕಳಿಸ್ಬೇಕು. ಅವ್ನು ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ ಸಾಕ ಗಾಯತ್ರಿ ಬೇರೆಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗೋದು ಬೇಡ ಅಂತ. ಮೊದಲು ಅವ್ರು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಲೊಕೇಶನ್ ಕಳಿಸೋದು.
ಬಸ್ಸು ತೆಗಿತಾರೆ ಇವಾಗ ಏನು ಮಾಡೋದು?
ಅಯ್ಯೋ ಬೇಡ ಬಿಡಿ ಸರ್.
ಸಾಕಲ್ವಾ?
ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ರೋಡ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಕೋಟೂರ್ ಜಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ IAF is close to enable rescue. 849 ಹೀಗೆ ಹಾಕಿರೋ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾ?
ಯಾವ ಸರ್ ಏನೇ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಚಾನಲಲ್ಲೂ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ನಾವು ತೆಗ್ದು ಬೇರೆ ಚಾನಲ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ. ರೆಗ್ಯುಲರ್ ಟೆಲಿಕಾಸ್ಟ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳಿ ರೀಜ್ನವ್ರು ಬರ್ತಾರಂತೇಳಿ ರೀಜ್ನವ್ರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ.
ಹೆಂಗೆ ಇವರು ಹೆಂಗೆ ಮಿಸಸ್ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಮೇಡಮ್ ಹೆಂಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ
ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆಂದಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ನೂರಾರು ನಿವಾಸಿಗಳನ್ನ ಒಳಗಡೆ ಇದ್ದಂತಹ ಲಾಕ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂತಹ ನಿವಾಸಿಗಳನ್ನ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬರುವಂತಹ ಕೆಲಸ ಇಲ್ಲಿನ ರಕ್ಷಣಾ ತಂಡಗಳು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಕಾಯ್ದಾರೆ.
ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಇಷ್ಟು ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ
ವಿಹಾರ ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ವಲಸೆ ಬಂದು ವಿಹಾರ ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗುವಂತಹ ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಆ ಒಂದು ಒಂದು ವಾರಗಳ ಕಾಲ ಕೇಂದ್ರೀಯ ವಿಹಾರ ಜನರನ್ನ ಅವರನ್ನ ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ಸ್ಥಳಾಂತರ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಂತ ಮನವಿನ ಸ್ಥಳೀಯ ಶಾಸಕರು ಕೂಡ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಆ ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ ಕೇಂದ್ರ ಒಂದು ನಿವಾಸಿಗಳನ್ನ ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗೆ ಬೋಟ್ ಮೂಲಕ NDRF ಸಿಬ್ಬಂದಿಗಳು ಅವರನ್ನ ಮಂದಿರದ ಹೊರಗೆ ಸದ್ಯಕ್ಕೆ ಮಾಡಲಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆಯಿಂದಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಜನರನ್ನ ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಹೊರಭಾಗದಿಂದ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಅವರು ತಮ್ಮ ತಮ್ಮ ಸಂಬಂಧಿಕರಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರನ್ನ ತಿಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಿಕರಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರಾಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅವರ ಮನೆಗೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತೂ ಏನಾದರೂ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಮನವಿ ಮಾಡುವಂಥ ಓಟ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡೋದಾಗಿ ಕೂಡ ಶಾಸಕರು ಭರವಸೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಪೂರ್ಣ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದನ್ನ ಮುಂದಿನ ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾದು ನೋಡಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು ವಾರಗಳ ಕಾಲ ಎಲ್ಲಿರುವಂತಹ ನಿವಾಸಿಗಳು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಸ್ಥಳಗಳಿಗೆ ತೆರಳೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ
ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ನಿವಾಸಿಗಳನ್ನ ಕೂಡಲೇ ರಕ್ಷಣೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು.
ಮೇಡಮ್
सर सर्वर 15 मिल रहे हैं सर, विजुअल्स मिल रहे हैं सर, हाँ सर, ओके
आप बाहर आइए।
सब जगह में है
ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬನ್ನಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅಲ್ಲ ಇದೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಕೊಡಿ 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 ಸರ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಒಂದು ನಿಮಿಷ ಈ ಕಡೆ ತೋರಿಸಿ ಮಗುನ ಸರ್ ಈ ಕಡೆ ತೋರಿಸಿ ಸರ್ ಬನ್ನಿ 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 ಸರ್ ಮಗುನ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಎರಡು ಮೂರು ಅವನು ಸೈಡ್ ಬಿಡಿ ಸೈಡ್ ಬಿಡಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸೈಡ್ ಬಿಡಿ ಒಳಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಲಗೇಜ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಬನ್ನಿ ಬನ್ನಿ
बच्चे को दे दीजिए.
ಮಮ್ಮಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಹೋಗಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಹೋಗಿ
ಆಯ್ತಾಯ್ತು ಬನ್ನಿ ನೀವು ಇಡಿ ಇಡಿ
ಓಕೆನಾ ಸರ್ ಹೇಳಿರಿ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹಿಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಬನ್ನಿ ಅವ್ರು ಸ್ಥಳಕ್ಕೆ ನೋಡಿ ಇನ್ನ ಎರಡು ಮೂರು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂತಾರೆ ಸೈಡ್ ಬನ್ನಿ ಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಅದು ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ ಹಂಗೆ
ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡಿ ಸರ್ ಬೋಟ್ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗಕ್ಕೆ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹಿಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಹಂಗೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬನ್ನಿ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬನ್ನಿ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬನ್ನಿ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬನ್ನಿ
ಬರ್ಲಿ ಸರ್
ಬನ್ನಿ ಇನ್ನು ಮುಂದೆ ಬನ್ನಿ
ಅವ್ರು ಹೊರ್ತವೆ ಸರ್
ಬನ್ನಿ ಇನ್ನು ಮುಂದೆ ಬನ್ನಿ ಹಾಂ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್
ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸೈಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಇನ್ನೂ ಸೈಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಸರ್ ಇನ್ನೂ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸೈಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಸರ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸೈಡ್ ಆಗಿ ಇನ್ನೂ ಸೈಡ್ ಆಗಿ
आप कैसे जाएंगे मैडम जी उधर 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 उधर
सिर्फ आप पहले आ जाओ बैग दे देंगे हम
इनको उठा लेते हैं
1 मिनट रुको
गजर कहाँ है
she can't walk.
ಇದೇ ರಿಸ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಶಿಕ್ಷೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಅದು ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಆಯ್ತು ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಬನ್ನಿ
ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಎಲ್ಲಕ್ಕ ಓಲ್ಟು ಆಂಜನೇಯ ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಬಸ್ ಬಂದ್ರೆ
ಬನ್ನಿ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಬನ್ನಿ
kind of difficulties that you've been facing. This is a place which often gets flooded, but there has never been a solution permanently.
Actually we are looking for the solution. Actually we have consulted this Shiva Prasad also, who is a committee member. So he's looking after all those issues. But still not yet, it's not been resolved. From past 2 weeks we are suffering from this only, but now they are asked us to vacate. So we are vacating and we are looking for the place to stay. It is very difficult to look a place to stay also because so many people are there. It is so tough keeping the children. So we are looking, like I asked them to give a permanent solution for this because it will be very tough handling the children, all those things. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Hello. Hi. Sir, please come. Sir, come. Sir, ee kade bandida. Yes, sir.
English.
English, Hindi, anything is fine. Yeah. Once again. Yes. So the kind of difficulties that you have been facing, it's been weeks together now. This place is completely flooded. I mean, also a working class female, or for that matter, for you also, there should be a lot of hurdles that you are facing right now.
Yeah, from past, especially from past 2 weeks, frequently it is getting flooded. And they have raised, next to Kendri Vihar, they have raised by 5 to 10 feet of, the field with, they leveled up. So it is causing flooding KV. The MC is doing the great work, but still they can't help.
There's something that you talk about, the kind of and the governance that the government, how it is looking after these kind of situations.
No, on emergency basis they are helping us, but there is no permanent solution yet.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you so much.
ಯಾವ್ದೋ ಅವಾಗಲೇ ರಾಜ್ಭವನ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು ರಾಜ್ಭವನ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಾರ ಅವಾಗಲೇ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಾ
ಬ್ರದರ್ ಮನೆ ಈ ಕಡೆ
ಮಳೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ಕೂಡ ಇದೇ ರೀತಿಯ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇತ್ತು. ಈ ಬಾರಿ ಬಹಳ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಪ್ರಮಾಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಆಗಿರೋ ಒಂದು ವಾರಗಳ ಕಾಲ ಈ ಒಂದು ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಮುಂದೆ ತಗೊಂಡು
Well, there could be a time where in your vehicles you would not be using petrol or diesel, but a sustainable version of that fuel. But how will that happen? What are biofuels, and what do we keep talking about when we talk about sustainable mobility? Transportation might just completely change for you and I, but we need to understand how that happens, why government is pushing so much for this buzzword that we use often, that is biofuels. We need to understand that and a lot more. So today joining us is Mr. Suhas Bakshi. He is the co-founder and CEO of Biofuel Circle. Mr. Bakshi, such a pleasure to speak with you.
So nice meeting you.
I was saying we are talking about future, something that would be absolutely different, and sustainable mobility, or how you would go around cities and towns would change as well. Can you briefly or just simply explain what biofuels are? How would that change the way we travel?
Technical definition of biofuels is they are derived from biomass. Okay, so what is biomass? Biomass is generally the organic waste that we leave behind when we produce food of any type or when plants grow. So khet kachra in Hindi is biomass, or food waste from hotels or from our homes is biomass. Now, it's organic, it has carbon and hydrogen, and any type of fuel also has carbon and hydrogen. So lots of technology work has happened to figure out, can this biomass be converted into fuels which are modern day fuels? Now, what's the modern day fuel? When you and I fly, the aircraft is using aviation turbine fuel. Can that be made out of biomass? When you and I drive, we drive a car, it uses petrol or diesel. Can that be made out of biomass? Now, that has been a question which has been a prominent question faced by technologists around the world, and they have definitely found a solution to that. So I would say modern biofuels are those fuels which are made from biomass, but for end use applications, which are today's end use applications.
Okay, so you spoke about different types of biomass. Are we already using, is there any proven technology where this particular waste will be used as biofuels? Is that already happening?
So once again, let's draw a comparison between what are fossil fuels and what are the different applications of fossil fuels. What you and I don't realize is that the power which is lighting this room is most probably come from a power plant which has used some type of fuel. And in most likelihood in our country, that is a thermal power plant, which has used coal as a fuel. So you have solid fossil fuels. One of the most, I would say, organized and mature uses of biomass is replacement of coal in power production or energy production. So if you are just able to imagine that there is agricultural residue available at the end of a harvest season in a field, if you are able to gather that, if you are able to densify it, make it as similar to coal as possible in fuel properties, then it's a ready replacement. Now, this type of use has been prevalent in India for many years. Rice husk, bagasse, and several different types of agricultural residues have been used for power generation and steam production in industries for a long time. But given the fact that this is industrial end use, most people are not completely aware of it. And also this is a small portion of the overall energy mix. For day-to-day fuel uses, such as petrol, we've been now using ethanol mixed in petrol for some period of time. World over, this has been one of the more prevalent uses of biofuels. So ethanol, which is made out of agricultural residue, coming in as a blending alternative for petrols, has been prevalent. India has a very ambitious target towards that. We've also been using in the recent past something called compressed biogas. This is being made once again out of agricultural residue or any type of food residue. The gas generated is similar in properties to natural gas or compressed natural gas, which is CNG, which is used in our taxis. So these have been some of the prevalent uses, though I would say they're just scratching the surface. We have a long way to go, but I think the journey seems to be quite clear to us now.
That's interesting because, as I was pointing out earlier, the government is pushing a lot for biofuels. There are a lot of companies which are putting up biofuel plants or, as you said, compressed biogas as well. I'll talk about the market opportunity here in greater detail towards later part of this conversation. What I wanted to understand is what is the transportation or the lead period like when you get biomass from different sources to when it is converted into a biofuel? Is it difficult to obtain a raw material? How is the supply in this particular
that's actually the crux of how to actually harness the potential. Let's start with the fact that one type of biomass is agricultural waste.
मिठाइयों, पटाखों और रंगोलियों से परे दिवाली का त्योहार देखा है। कुछ नया, कुछ खास इन जगहों की दिवाली में इस बार देखा है। कुल्लू की वादी में बूढ़ी दिवाली एक अनोखा एहसास जगाती है। जब इन पहाड़ों के सामने दिए की लौ छोटी पड़ जाती है, मशालों की रोशनी और नाटी के धुन के बीच एक उम्मीद दिलों को दिलों से जोड़ जाती है। शायद इसीलिए एक महीने बाद दिवाली फिर लौट आती है। कुल्लू की दिवाली विश्वास का दीप जलाती है। गोवा के समंदर की विशाल लहरें एक अनोखी कहानी सुनाती हैं। तेज हवाओं के बीच अच्छाई की एक लौ झिलमिलाती है। जब इन किनारों पर नारकसुर की रात मंडराती है, तब एक मशाल की जगमगाती रोशनी बुराई पे अच्छाई की जीत का भरोसा दिलाती है। गोवा की दिवाली विश्वास का दीप जलाती है।
अरे और कोई है भाई लो नेटवर्क गाँव वाला?
वही राजस्थान में कठपुतलियां जब घर वापसी की कहानी सुनाती हैं, बेटे के लौटने की खुशी माई के चेहरे पर एक मुस्कान ले आती है। लेकिन जब रेगिस्तान में बेटे की नजरें धुंधलाती हैं, माई छत को रोशन कर उसे घर की राह दिखाती है। राजस्थान की दिवाली विश्वास का दीप जलाती है। हजारों रंग, हजारों ढंग, हर घर एक अलग रूप में आती है। हर दिवाली विश्वास का दीप जलाती है।
निविया सॉफ्ट में है 2x ज्यादा मॉइस्चराइजर्स, विटामिन ई और जोजोबा, जो दे मुझे फ्रेश और ग्लोइंग स्किन। चुटकी में निविया सॉफ्ट फॉर फ्रेश एंड ग्लोइंग स्किन।
Now, what is agricultural waste? If I am a rice growing farmer, at the end of the harvest season, the rice grows, I harvest the rice. What stays in the field is what is biomass. Now, how do I now start accumulating that? One of the first difficulties in a country like India is absence of mechanization for collection of this biomass. The second is it grows only during the harvest season. But if I, let us say, set up a plant to convert it into fuel, that plant will be an industrial enterprise and it will work for 12 months in a year. So I have seasonal supply and a everyday requirement. So there is a need for not only harnessing it, but also storing it, which requires investment in storage infrastructure, which also requires investment in working capital. So availability of storages and cost of working capital is the second strong constraint that we see right now. The third and extremely important consideration in the context of the consumer being an industrial consumer. Okay, the biofuel producer is an industrial enterprise and the supplier is a rural enterprise who is unorganized. So let us say I'm a large industrial buyer. I want to buy feedstock. What do? I send out an RFP. I float a tender. Now, the rural enterprises are not used to dealing with industrial enterprise and their purchase process. So there's a disconnect here. So I would say these three are, as per my standpoint, three of the strong constraints that we see in India right now. If we are able to surpass these constraints, then potentially more than 200 million metric tons of biomass, just as agricultural residue, is available for harnessing in India. That is 17% of India's energy need. So this is huge. This is huge.
So then how much of it are we able to use right now for industrial use out of this 2 million metric tons that you said, which we could potentially use? Is the current usage way lower than that number?
It's, I would say, at the most 20% of what is available. And so clearly there is a work to be done. Look, the fossil fuel supply chain took 150 years to build. So you've got a global supply chain of crude oil, you've got a global supply chain for coal, you've got a global supply chain for everything. But look, it has taken a long time in making. This is an opportunity which is a big opportunity. But to create a supply chain and which works in exactly similar structure as the fossil fuel supply chain, I think we have an opportunity, but we have to do what was done in last 150 years in probably a very short period of time.
But you know, the advantage also is that we are an agricultural economy. So we do have raw material available here. We don't have to depend on imports for anything for that matter. We are self-sufficient here. So where does Biofuel Circle come into the picture? What exactly are you doing here?
So look, when we looked at the constraints, we felt that, well, technology has come to a point, especially information technology has come to a point where there are so many things which are possible with use of information technology. Let's look at something like, OLX. I'm having, a used cupboard or a used sofa in my house, and I put it on OLX, and somebody comes and has a look at it, and, before I know it, it's gone. Now, can I create a similar possibility for somebody who's a farmer and who has waste, right? Can I use technology to show him possibilities and to make sure that he's actually able to earn out of the waste that he has? That's the first point of intervention or the first point of arrival for Biofuel Circle. The second is, can I actually create an entrepreneur out of somebody who is just having a tractor lying idle in the rural area? Because after the harvest season, the use of tractors in rural area is sporadic. So there is idle capacity available. So can I tap into these idle tractors and make somebody earn higher level of livelihood out of transporting this biomass which is available in field to a point of storage? The third point is, can I create a storage, and we call it biomass bank. So we create a biomass bank like a blood bank. You go and deposit biomass there and you get paid for it. Okay. The fourth point of arrival is the equipment, which is mechanization equipment. So we rent out mechanization equipment. And the last bit is we have a B2B e-commerce platform which connects all of this to industry. So, you have on one digital platform, each one of these activities happening. You can look at it as an independent sphere in itself, but together it's an ecosystem which allows industry to connect to rural in a very, very efficient manner.
That's very interesting. So basically, you are the OLX or Zomato of connecting the farmers to the end users or the industry. But do you see that there is some reluctance from farmers? You spoke about it as well. It's an unorganized sector. So how are they using, if it's an app, how are you reaching out to them that, yes, you can go ahead, go on the app and sell the biomass here?
So, this is the premise with which we started, that this will be tough. But to our surprise, we found
ऊपर पे सीट बुकिंग क्या ऐश का जमाना है। अपने स्ट्रगल के टाइम पे ना बस के अंदर घुसने से बाहर निकलने तक मालूम नहीं कि हाथ सलामत या पैर सलामत। सीट पकड़ने के चक्कर में धक्कम धुक्की धावा धूबी, उससे अपन सॉलिड बनाए मालूम है।
अभी नहीं चाहिए आपको धक्का मुक्की आबादूबी।
स्ट्रगल का जमाना गया बड़ा, ऐश का जमाना है। गुड़गांव आए ना तो उठाना।
Uber shuttle, no struggle.
दीदी सुजाता मिक्सर ग्राइंडर बेस्ट है।
सेल्समैन है, बेचने के लिए कुछ भी बोलेगा।
भाई साहब, मैं ना अपनी माँ को भगवान से बढ़ के मानता हूँ और इस माँ की कसम खा के कहता हूँ सुजाता मिक्सर ग्राइंडर सबसे बेस्ट है, क्योंकि इसके 900 का पावरफुल मोटर 90 मिनट नॉन स्टॉप चलता है। अब भी आपको यकीन नहीं है ना? आप ऑनलाइन रिव्यू पढ़ लो।
आप पैक कर दीजिए।
सुजाता, इससे बेटर मिक्सर ग्राइंडर नहीं आता।
Found that the farmers were not reluctant because, look, gone are the days when you look at a farmer as somebody who is relatively undereducated and unaware. You've got most of these families have, 2 or 3 generations. The grandson or the son is on Facebook or is on WhatsApp. There is a smartphone at home. They're buying things on Flipkart. They're buying things on Amazon. I think there is penetration of mobile commerce there. And we did not find them to be difficult set of people to actually onboard. So this was a myth which was actually broken when we, in just 1.5 months' time in the district of Mathura in UP, we were able to onboard 7,500 farmers on the platform. And each one of these farmers in the end got paid in their UPI account for the biomass that was made available by them.
Oh, so talk about technology enriching lives. How many touch points have you been able to, go through because of this app? Or which areas or geographies are you catering to right now?
So we are in Maharashtra. We started in Maharashtra. We are in Gujarat. We are in UP. We are in Punjab and Tamil Nadu. So 5 states. We currently cover more than 50 districts. We have close to 20,000 farmers who have been onboarded. We have more than 1,000 businesses who are on the platform. And on an annual basis, more than 200 crore worth of biomass transactions currently happen on the platform.
Interesting. So when we talk about biomass and paying farmers, do the rates change there? Is it also market driven? Because if you're going to the farmers saying this is how much we'll pay you for biomass, what makes them just lap onto that?
Look, for them, it is actually a problem to be solved rather than an opportunity. If my rice paddy field is having biomass lying all over it, the trigger for people burning is they don't want to spend money taking it away. So that's the reason they burn it. Now, how do I create an economic incentive? And look, the incentive need not be very big. It's about recognizing the fact that there is an alternative, and that alternative is an inexpensive, in fact, paying alternative. So it's not about how much do I get, but it's about there is a ready mechanism for somebody to take care of my problem. And I get paid too because they look at it as feedstock available. How much do they get paid is obviously driven by a fall down of what's the price at which the industry buys it, which is obviously linked to the comparison with what's the fuel value and what's the comparable rate for fossil fuel. So it kind of flows down from there. But if I have to give you a number, a 2-acre farmer on an average in India who produces 2 seasons of agriculture in a year could earn up to 10,000 rupees additional income every year, which is 10% of his current average income. So just from agricultural activity, by making biomass available, you can increase your agricultural income by 10%.
So we can solve the issue of stubble burning if everyone goes ahead and gives their biomass. Sell, actually. The word is sell, it's just not giving away. But that doesn't happen too often.
It doesn't happen because the constraints are bigger than just awareness. The stubble burning happens not because the farmer is happy to burn it, but he seems to be in a situation where there is no alternative. So let's look at 2 seasons. At the end of October, my harvest is ready and I need to take the crop out, and then what is remaining is loads and loads of kachra on my field. I need to take care of it and I need to remove it in a period of between 15 days to 45 days time, right? Now, this is where mechanization and absence of mechanization plays a role. What's the size of the fleet which is covering it? Right? So there needs to be investment in that infrastructure. There needs to be space available to locally store it and densify it in the rural areas. So this is a matter of actually setting up that infrastructure. And as we start setting up the infrastructure, I'm sure we will move away from this problem. But this is not going to be like switch off and switch on kind of a mechanism that now people are aware and now they'll stop burning it. I think we also need to create the infrastructure. Once we have the infrastructure, so the districts in which we have operated, we have seen 0 instances of stubble burning. And I'm sure this can be, and obviously our plan is to make sure that we take it forward.
That's very interesting and nice to know. So in that case, we'll need more government intervention when it comes to policy around mechanization or infrastructure development. Is there a policy in place for that?
There is a strong push on policy. So for example, now with these different end uses, let's say compressed biogas as an end use, or second generation ethanol as an end use, or drop-in biodiesel as an end use. So for each one of these enterprises, investment in aggregation machinery is now seen as a subject of subsidy. So the government subsidizes purchase of these equipment. The government also encourages farmer producer companies. Now, farmer producer companies are entities which are coming into picture as farmer collectives. And so if there are farmer collectives in the rural areas, if the farmer collective wants to invest in these equipment, once again, they get a subsidy. So there are, I think, several different models of, enterprise creation which are possible. There is a strong push towards investment in this infrastructure. There is also, in several cases, a combination of reward and penalty which local administrations offer for making sure that stubble burning does not happen. But the way I see it is, like we created enterprises which are based on grain, we need to create enterprises which are based on waste. And this is a parallel ecosystem which needs to get considered. Initially, when I started talking to people about this, two instances which I would want to highlight. One is with respect to financing. I said, look, if I am a nuts and bolts producer for Toyota, I set up a small manufacturing shed somewhere in Bengaluru in the vicinity of their plant. I walk into a bank and I say that I want working capital. On the strength of a Toyota order, I have no problem. I get working capital. But if I say I'm a biomass, storage company whose biomass is going to an Indian oil refinery somewhere, 90% of the cases, the banks are not going to entertain me. They're going to find ways and means to dissuade me. So how do you create a mechanism where these businesses are accepted as businesses which are which are actual supply chain businesses, which are industrial businesses and not some small rural outpost. This is one thing which we need to make clear, and policy direction needs to go in that. I think the second and extremely important thing is to make sure that we encourage, local village level enterprises to form these businesses, because unlike in case of several other feedstocks, biomass is going to be a winner only if you create small rural enterprises. And I'll tell you why. If you take a 3 metric ton truck and try and put rural agricultural residue in that, a 3 metric ton capacity trailer will be able to take 500 kg of biomass because it is fluffy, it is light. Now, if I transport this for 15 kilometer distance using diesel, which is leaving carbon footprint, then within 15 kilometers, all the economic and environmental incentive is over. Okay, so there is no case for transporting this fluffy biomass. So I need to create densified bales on the farm. For that, I need a small rural businessman. So clearly, this is an opportunity to make sure that not only do you implement technology, but you implement it through, businesses which are very small, micro enterprises based in rural areas. And if you encourage them, then this revolution is very much possible.
That's the crux of it. We need to go to the hinterlands and ensure that there are smaller establishments which are taking care of it, but since they do not think of it as a profitable venture as of now, maybe it's taking some time. So when you spoke about the market size opportunity that we have here, how big would biofuels be once, say, 5 to 6 years down the line, when what government is planning right now actually sees light of day? Any estimates that the market has put
So
out?
look, I think the moment you come to estimates, it's something which is, everybody's estimate is going to be different. But if one has to look at what is the least common, baseline that people draw, I would say combination of agricultural residue, biofuels, and very interestingly, something called biofertilizers. See, when you take biomass and convert it to fuel, only 15% of it gets converted to fuel. See, chemically, what you're taking is mixture of carbon, hydrogen, and several other elements which have come from the soil, right? So what you take out is as fuel from biomass is only 10 to 15% of biomass by its weight. The balance which remains is the sludge. That sludge is actually rich biofertilizer. If you're able to take it back to the to the same farm, you are going to have a big play in the soil nutrition business too. So if you combine these three, my take on this is a $50 billion market by 2030.
That's a huge opportunity. That's no wonder the government is also tapping on it. And of course, it promotes circular economy. That's the basic idea of going for biofuels. Are they as effective when it comes to their utilization versus the fossil fuel, say petrol and diesel, in terms of mileage? How many kilometers can one travel if they use a biofuel vis-a-vis a pure petrol, not with any blending? Is there any maths that is done on that?
So I'll give you example of compressed biogas. Compressed biogas is same fuel value as compressed natural gas. It has same fundamental efficiency which you would get out of the fuel. So technology will allow you to create a fuel derivative which is same as the fossil fuel. There is absolutely no difference. Drop-in fuels, and there are a lot of small units which produce through a process called thermal cracking drop-in biodiesel, and this is same as diesel. So I do not believe that the end-use applications are going to be inefficient.
Yeah, that is one worry that people have. Maybe that efficiency would be lower. And would they have to pay any higher?
Once upon a time, air travel was but a dream. Today, even those in humble slippers soar through the skies. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Udan scheme. The flight of every small town's aspiration to grow. The flight of every small businessman's dream to expand to big cities. The flight of tourism and development in the Northeast. The flight of common citizens' ambition. The new flight of a Viksit Bharat. 8 glorious years of Udan.
Hershey's Exotic Dark. Dark with Californian almonds. Dark cocoa-rich chocolate. Better to get Hershey's Exotic Dark.
Amount for this, I wouldn't say, because petrol and diesel are already quite expensive. So I wouldn't want to say any more costly than that. But is that a fear as well?
So I do not know how will the pricing mechanism emerge over a period of time. Right now, almost everybody pegs it to what is the current price of the equivalent fossil fuel, and that's the price at which you make it available. But I'm sure over a period of time, your prices would be driven by what is the cost structure of producing it would be. So I would say we may not have to go to benchmarks, which are these global benchmarks for what should the price be. We may actually be able to come up with our own price structure based on what's the cost of making it available.
Yeah, and that is something that will take some time. So we need to figure it out considering the market at that time. You said that globally biofuels are a big thing already. Can you give us some examples? Brazil, for once, has seen the highest ethanol blending that any country has seen. Where do we stand vis-a-vis global markets in terms of usage of biofuels? I just want to understand a comparison, maybe qualitatively also, but where do we stand?
I think India is definitely seen as one of the leaders in the biofuel world. Brazil has been a pioneer in several different ways. US has always been a strong player as far as ethanol is concerned. India is not behind, both from a point of view of where does the government put the policy in place, where does the technology stand, what is the industry readiness to actually implement that technology. I think on all these fronts, India is definitely one of the leaders as far as bioenergy is concerned. And I would say this is definitely an opportunity for India to be in a position to proclaim a strong global leadership in an industry segment.
So is this why we had Global Biofuel Alliance during G20? How is that changing the way we are looking at this industry? Are there many countries a member of this alliance?
So the Global Biofuel Alliance is definitely a result of the fact that so G20 happened in India. Bioenergy was one of the streams for global discussions, and given the fact that India finds itself on that pedestal where it is one of the global leaders, I think the initiative was taken and the stage was right. I do believe the collaboration will lead to number one. Strong technology alliances between member countries. I mean, look, if some work has happened at a faster pace on CBG in India, vis-a-vis some work has happened on second generation or third generation ethanol somewhere else, I think these alliances will, you will find a lot of these alliances actually happening based on the fact that Global Biofuel Alliance has been created. I would expect this to actually drive creation of a framework for carbon neutrality. Because biomass-driven carbon neutrality has not been a subject which has ever been addressed at the global level at such a scale. So there is an opportunity that this alliance has to actually create maybe a more meaningful structure for carbon credits using biomass as a base.
So, while you were saying that, a couple of questions popped up in my head. One of it is, when we say we'll use biofuels, will we use it in entirety or will we be blending it with fossil fuels?
The start will always be through blending for a reason which is linked to the fact that most of the applications that you're talking about are applications which are reliably working right now. So, for example, if you take a power plant, is it possible to use 100% biomass to produce power? Answer is yes. Okay, but are there systems ready right now to start using it? Is the reliability in that particular power plant proven for 100% shift? So the start will be with 5% blending. It will move to 20% blending. Over a period of time, as they are doing investment into new infrastructure, their investment then will be for biomass-driven infrastructure. So you will go to a larger usage of biomass. So it's not about whether it is technically possible, but it's about what is the transition process. And the transition process will have to be a staged transition process because you don't want to disturb the end, the users of it. So it's a little bit like the fertilizer scenario. Are organic fertilizers great? Yes. But should you suddenly stop using what you currently do? The answer is no. So there has to be an approach which is a transition approach.
We saw that with Sri Lanka, so we don't want to make that mistake. But when you say it has to be stage by stage, but there could be one day when all our vehicles are run purely on biofuels. There could be a possibility that will happen.
So if I have to answer that, I would say I would look for a day when all the rural energy is bioenergy driven. So are tractors running on compressed biogas or biodiesel? Are the local pumps running using those fuels? Are you producing power in rural areas using biomass as basic fuel? But transporting this fuel for 10,000 kilometer distance may never be so if you can think of a world where you create a lot of these distributed centers of complete circular economy, okay, and they are fueled by biofuels, okay, then that type of world, at least in my dreams, is definitely possible.
Let's hope that happens and that happens quickly. While we are talking about ethanol blending, recently what happened with sugar mills is they were asked to direct the molasses to sugar output versus ethanol. Do you think that is something which would hurt the targets that we have in terms of 20% blending? Or do you think government intervention sometimes could hurt the sector in some way? Is this something which could impact the targets? Is generally what I want to know.
So it does have a short-term impact because people, especially the sugar sector, made lots of investment in producing ethanol. So from that point of view, there was a setback to that, and hence I would say that a policy turn like that definitely has a negative impact. You also start thinking about, will a similar thing happen in other sectors? So from that point of view, obviously, such a turn is not a nice thing to happen. Does it very strongly impact the larger long-term direction. And I would say this could be a blip in the long-term direction rather than something which sets a precedent. Because let us say producing ethanol using starchy biomass as opposed to using sugary biomass, technology is available, investments could be made, stronger R&D could be done in making sure that your use of sugar as primary ingredient for producing ethanol over a period of time becomes one of the things and not the only thing. But it's long term and it's not short term. So in the short term, this policy definitely gives a negative vibe, has a negative impact. But I still believe that in the long term, there are several different ways in which the target could be made.
And let's hope that happens. You briefly also mentioned about 1G ethanol, 2G ethanol. For the benefit, can you explain what the difference between the two is? And we are using 2G ethanol right now, is it correct?
So the first generation ethanol is almost always using molasses to create ethanol. Or molasses, or for that matter, any form of sugar or sugar product as an ingredient to make ethanol. That is first generation. Second generation is you start using starch as a base. So starch as a base would mean that the biomass which is available as the waste in the field could potentially become the usable biomass for making ethanol. This is the technology in which IOCL has invested in Panipat to create a second generation ethanol plant. It's relatively new from a technology point of view, and hence the investments are big. So more and more such plants coming up, and most of the oil companies are setting up these plants. So you would find biomass driving production of ethanol over a period of time. Even here, there could be several different ways to look at how to drive the feedstock availability and creating ethanol. So I would say, as we move towards second generation future in ethanol, you would probably see different type of ethanol manufacturers as opposed to what you see now.
So which are the big players right now who are investing in the space? You said some of these oil marketing companies, IOC, putting up the Panipat plant. Are there any other companies which are taking big strides in the biofuel space?
So there are, private sector and public sector companies which are taking big strides. The companies which are making big investments in the biogas space includes the Reliance Group, includes Adani's. There is a German multinational called Verbio. So these are some of the stronger names in addition to the PSUs like Indian Oil, HPCL and BPCL. So these are the companies who are making very large investments. You do find, sugar sector becoming quite alert to the fact that this is a horizontal diversification possibility for them. You do find a lot of power sector EPC companies looking at this as an area to be present in. And last but not the least, you also find companies getting into things like biochar. Biochar is an interesting alternative. So can I get biomass and not convert it to fuel, but get converted to activated carbon? So that's also a possibility. So look, technology shows various different pathways, and you see companies making investments in some places small, but in some cases very big and ambitious.
That's so good to know. And in the last couple of Climate Clock conversations that I've had, the core point has been how you can use that technology for distribution. So you have the product ready, but you need to distribute it well. As you said, we need to go across to villages and ensure that they look at it as an entrepreneurship opportunity rather than thinking that it'll take so much investment. But thank you, Mr. Bakshi. It was such an enriching conversation. We learned so much about such a technical conversation generally that people would say that what are biofuels? How would it impact everyone? And as you said, some big companies are making some big investments and they have ideas here as well. So such a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us.
It has been a pleasure talking to you too. Thank you so much.
Okay, all right. With that, we'll wrap on this conversation. But you keep writing to us. We've been getting a lot of queries, a lot of comments. So let us know what you want us to talk about and we'll do that on the podcast again. But thank you so much for being such an amazing audience today. Thanks a lot.
जब भी करूँ निविया सॉफ्ट से मॉइस्चराइज, मेरी स्किन को मिले मॉर्निंग वाली फ्रेशनेस चुटकी में। वेदर आई एम रीलिंग और ट्विनिंग, क्योंकि निविया सॉफ्ट में है 2x ज्यादा मॉइस्चराइजर्स, विटामिन ई और जोजोबा, जो दे मुझे फ्रेश और ग्लोइंग स्किन चुटकी में। निविया सॉफ्ट फॉर फ्रेश एंड ग्लोइंग स्किन।
Oaksmith Style Studio, where your soul let it shine. Fashion is state of mind. Every stitch, every seam. Live your life, chase the dream.
Make a good look great with Oaksmith Style Studio.
Oaksmith, make it higher.
Well, are you a fan of fast fashion? Or you are someone who likes to buy a lot of clothes, maybe does not wear it more than once, and then gives it away, or it's somewhere there in your cupboard? I'm not trying to tell you not to shop. Of course, that's not the motive. I'm just trying to tell you how your consumption habits when it comes to textiles impacts the environment. There's a lot more. We've spoken about how textile waste is not properly treated, it's there in landfills, and what kind of pollution it causes because it's not treated well. So I have someone very special on the podcast today who is going to explain to us what's happening in the textile world when it comes to pollution, when it comes to climate change, and how a lot of these organizations are solving that issue. I have with me Manora Dhillon, who is the CEO of Okhai, and she's here with us in the studio. Such a pleasure to be speaking with you, and something that everyone will relate with, right? So let's try and understand how big is this issue of textile pollution.
Hi Sonal, thank you for having me. I think it's a great conversation that we are going to have, and this is a very important topic that everyone should be discussing in their casual settings at home as well. So textile waste is a very, very critical issue right now. It is the second largest polluter in the world, and at 10% emissions, only after oil companies. And a major part of this is not just at a production level of raw material, but also at a consumption level. So this waste is not just being generated by the factories that are making these products, but also people that are buying these products and throwing them away. To put it in perspective, it is polluting so much that if we put together all of the airlines that fly internationally and all of the maritime shipping together in 1 year, the amount of emissions that they create, textile still creates more emissions in a single year.
That's such a big amount. And you know, as we were just talking about it as well, it's something that everyone would relate with. There are just like discounts every other day. There are so many options available now when it comes to textiles as well. What is the issue then if we are talking about it being the second biggest emitter after oil companies? On the consumer side, is it not being treated properly, or on the supply side, what are some of the issues that you can highlight?
I think I'll just take you broadly through the value chain at this point. So it's essentially starts at a production level. So textile companies are making textile raw materials to convert into any kind of apparel.
ब्लड टेस्ट के पहले आप कुछ नहीं खाते, इसीलिए हम ऑलवेज ऑन टाइम आते।
अगोड़ा पे पाइए बेस्ट होटल्स इन कमाल के प्राइसेस।
Domestic and international दोनों।
Or other textile goods. At a raw material manufacturing level, one, they're using a lot of polyester. So at a material level, it is an unsustainable material because it cannot be biodegraded. Secondly, there is a huge amount of, like, the textile industry is known to be a massive user of water and toxic chemicals in the dyeing and finishing processes. And invariably, there are these chemical runoffs that go into the rivers and other water bodies surrounding these ecosystems. So there's pollution at that level, both in air and in water, which causes a lot of harm to the environment. There's also overproduction because which is again led by trends. It's led by what we want. It's led by I should get what I really want at this point, and the company should have it. And because of that, these companies are overproducing, and they end up producing a lot more, and that becomes a lot of excess, which then goes into landfills or at massive discounts if they are able to sell it off.
And that's what's the trend like? You're right. We have OOTD or GRWM, these trends like out there all the time. And that just talks about how much consumption is happening on a daily basis. You spoke about how polyester is not a sustainable material for textiles. What are some of the sustainable options that now everyone's looking at?
I think the organic ones to begin with, because they don't use pesticides and there is a limited amount of water, and these are usually these are usually
easily available, or they will not take a lot of chemicals to produce.
They are usually things that grow and are resistant to pests and are already very, very hardy. So, for example, hemp, for example, flax, which you get linen out of.
Okay.
And organic cotton. Like in India, we have indigenous organic cotton, which is called Kala cotton in Gujarat. It does not require any extra water. It relies solely on rainwater.
Okay.
It is naturally resistant to pesticides, to pests.
Yeah.
It does not require any pesticides. It is a beautiful product that already exists and people have been making it for centuries now. And we have a lot of these options that are available on the synthetic side. We have Lyocell and we have EcoCell. These are some new kinds of textiles that companies are creating. A full research statistics, we don't have how sustainable they're going to be in the long run. But as of now, it is a sustainable option.
You know, I just bought a Lyocell trouser, so maybe because I didn't want to buy anything polyester, so I just bought that. So I'm glad you said that it is the sustainable option. I did a lot of research before doing that as well. But when you talk about some of these materials not needing a lot of water, a lot of attention, but the question that people have or maybe it's the mentality that organic products or sustainable products, they are way more expensive than maybe a polyester or maybe some other sort of textiles or fast fashion for that matter. Is that just a thought process or is it true?
To be very honest, many fast fashion brands are as expensive as sustainable brands in India. We just don't see it like that. So in terms of price points, now in 2024, you do have a lot of sustainable brands in different brackets. So starting at a 2,500, going up to 15,000, you can decide what you want to buy and you will find a lot of options in this space. But I think we also need to view it a little differently. We can't view it like how we view fast fashion. It doesn't have to be a product that you're going to buy today and get rid of tomorrow. It should be viewed as something that you're buying to keep in your wardrobe, that has a story attached to it, that is always going to be a conversation starter for you. So it's going to last in your wardrobe for 10 years and then it totally makes up for the amount that you spent on it.
Yeah, people don't understand it's fast fashion for a reason. You'll forget it very fast and you'll not be able to use it. And it's like our mom's saris, right?
Exactly.
They have it since their wedding. Like they are here for 20, 25 years and they keep repeating it and they keep wearing it. In that case, is it only manufacturing newer products with sustainable clothing or are you seeing the market for second-hand textiles also growing? I see a lot of these pre-loved or pre-used markets and all of it being socialized as well. Is that growing?
That is definitely growing as well. See, places like Sarojini Nagar and Linking Road have always been around, right? And you've always had carts selling export surplus products out there. So people are already okay with buying surplus products. Now the whole second-hand market is also catching up, both e-commerce, they have stores, they have their pop-ups everywhere. What's happening essentially is, one, people are more aware. They know that what they're doing, buying fast fashion brands, rapidly changing their style, going after trends is largely unsustainable. I think another two important drivers are, one, lack of wardrobe space. People in big cities don't have elaborate wardrobes. If they want to buy more, they need to empty out their wardrobes. And then you also want new stuff all the time, and if you're getting something at a slightly cheaper price, you will go for it. And I don't think people are resistant to wearing something secondhand. In fact, we have a resale program on our website as well. And when we launched it, it was a huge success. We gained like some 12% new customers completely from that. So we knew that, okay, there are people that want to buy Okai, maybe they want it at a lower price point and they're okay with buying the second-hand products.
That's pretty cool, because not only it helps in a reuse of a particular product, people get to get it at a lower price, as you just pointed out. But tell us, in all this, where does Okai stand? Tell us the story. How did it start? And you have so many artisans in rural areas and they are contributing here. What's the story like?
So Okai started from an area in Gujarat called Okha Mandal when there was a drought for 4 years. And these women that belong to the Rabari, which is a pastoral community, came together and decided to take their craft, which is beautiful Rabari embroidery, to the market. And that's how it started. It started very small, through exhibitions, through small pop-ups, and then it eventually became an e-commerce platform. And today we also have a store. It started with like a handful of 10-15 women, and today we are like 30,000 people, crafts people, not just women but also men, across crafts and across categories in India.
Okay, and what are some of the products? Of course, it's clothing, but you do have...
So there's everything now. There's clothing, there's lifestyle products. So there's a lot of basketry and all these beautiful grasses that naturally grow all across the country. Those are being used to create stunning baskets. So there's a lot of basketry, there's a lot of metal work that has been going on for centuries in the country. So like Dokra, that's you have a lot of Dokra products, you have homeware, you have textile, you have apparel, of course. We also have some pottery. So it's a mix of many things. And within each category also we have like a ton of crafts. Like the blazer I'm wearing is Ajrak. This is from Gujarat. Then you have embroidery, which is from different parts of the country, depending on which craft community did that embroidery.
Okay, that's very interesting. So what plans next? How many stores? What kind of expansion? Because, when you do start, as you said, at a lower level, expansion is a task, right? How did that happen? What are the next plans you have here?
So we do plan to be one platform for all the craft that's available in India. And online, we want to be that one place where people can come and they can find everything that they've ever heard of in terms of craft. And through that, not only give your customers something unique, but also all the craftspeople that are in remote parts of the country are able to get their product out to people in Bombay or like even globally. On the e-commerce front, that. On the store front, similar. I think we would like to have a store in all major cities. That should be what our next goal. Hopefully it should happen soon.
That'll be amazing. So more power to you on that. One word which is often used nowadays is minimalism. Everyone talks about minimalistic living. Are you seeing that change as a person who's been in the industry for so long? Fashion designers are talking about it. How are they inculcating it in their daily work?
I think minimalism is honestly one of the philosophies that goes and comes back around in the design world. And I think this is probably just one of those phases. In terms of adapting that philosophy in work, I would say keep it clean. Don't overproduce, don't overconsume. Have your design language a little more limited, but I wouldn't say that compromise your design language just because you want to be minimalist. I think every brand has their own design language and they should stick to that, and maybe in that space they can experiment. I would look at minimalism more at a philosophical level, where you're looking at your processes, you're looking at how you want to run your business. That should be clean and, absolutely like
to the point.
Yeah.
So when we talk about just to make it easier, when we talk about organic or sustainable clothing, what should one look at when they're going and buying one?
I think the most important thing is to look at the tag. It should contain all the details about that item. So the number one would be the quality or the material that you're buying. Try not buying polyester because it is plastic. Acrylic is plastic. So stick to natural materials. That would be one, the first step. Within natural materials, if you can go organic, if you can go more sustainable, great. The other thing would be how transparent is the brand? Are they really telling you who's making these things? Are they not telling you who's making these things? Ask those questions. And the biggest one would actually be to go for things that are classic in nature and not very trend driven. We cherish saris forever. Why not have a wardrobe look the same way, like your sari wardrobe? Why not have the other wardrobe look like that? So go for classics. Have a few trendy pieces in the middle, but find your style and go for classic pieces. And a lot of sustainable brands are offering that because they don't want to keep overproducing either.
And that's the idea. They don't want to overproduce and ensure that
Exactly.
the consumerism idea around a lot of textiles is also limited. You spearhead this organization, this amazing one. When you talk about funding in general, is it easy to get funding for sustainable ventures right now? Has it changed over years? How have you seen that pan out?
I think it has changed. A lot of investors are now looking at being in the sustainable fashion space or sustainable living space. That said, profits are still important to anyone who's investing in any business. So there needs to be a growth plan. There needs to be a growth plan, not just in terms of profits, but I think also the environmental impact. So there are investors that would invest in a company purely for the impact that they are creating at a grassroots level or at an environmental level. And I think sustainable companies can look for those investors more actively.
Okay, and that is easier to get right now.
Yes, much easier than it was like 10 years ago, for sure.
That's a good change because that's what's happening not only with the
It's
textile
very encouraging.
industry. Yeah,
Yes.
that's very encouraging. Does that also create, in a world where we are selling everything with the tag sustainable, the issues around greenwashing, where a person is not able to identify, maybe they are paying a higher price for a particular product because it's called sustainable? Have you seen that happen in the industry?
Yes, all the time. I think greenwashing, we recently even started seeing craft washing where you're like, okay, this is a craft-based product made by artisans, but it's not. And it becomes very hard to identify, even for us. We are in the industry, it becomes very hard even for us to identify which brand is actually greenwashing or craft washing and which brand is not. And I think it's very important to ask the right questions. At this level, there needs to be a little bit of regulation. I think there needs to be certain standards that you need to apply to. You need to have certain certifications. And consumers should ask for that.
It's a lot of consumer awareness as well because, there was a point in time where a lot of good designs at cheaper price when they were available, we just bought them and we did not know that it would not last for more than 6-7 months. It was just written that maybe it is sustainable, but that was not the case. The other term associated with fast fashion also is how the supply side has been. One is material. Are there other issues as well on the supply side when it comes to fast fashion? Of course, the stuff that happens after you consume it is different, but what on the supply side?
I think two major things. One is overproduction to meet up with demand, and it's consistent overproduction. Like year on year, you're seeing overproduction, and all these pieces that are surplus, how much of it really goes into the market? Like we mentioned before, like the second-hand market, very little. Most of it goes into the landfill. So that's a big one. The second one is ethical production. So how are the people making all of this, dyeing the product, stitching the product? How are they getting paid? What are the health and safety parameters there? So I think these are some very important things that one needs to consider. If you're running a brand, where are you getting your raw material forms from? So like Okai is working with artisans that are not always creating raw material. Sometimes there's surface work like this jacket or there's embroidery. So where is that textile coming from? So we have to be mindful of where we are getting that from as well.
Okay. And how do you reach out to artisans? That must also be a task, right? Because you're getting it from everywhere in the country and our country is huge.
Yeah. We actively are in the craft space, and I think people know Khai by now. We've been there for a while.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, it was a bit difficult. But we did work with these women in Okha Mandal, and they were our spokespeople. And they were like, listen, they've been working with us for a while. This is a genuine enterprise. They are going to pay you on time. So let's work with them. And it is going to be consistent work as well. I think that's another huge problem. When you're working with the crafts community, you can't just do one collection with them and then be like, okay, I'm done with you now. I'm going to do another collection with another crafts community because I want something new in my brand. what you're doing when you're doing that is you're taking a craft community, giving them hope, and then abandoning them. So it's very important to keep working year on year with the crafts community, irrespective of what payment structure you have. Working with them and giving consistent work to them is more important, because that's the only way that community will see artistic growth or even growth in livelihood.
Yeah, that's correct.
Or
because-
intergenerational growth as well.
Yeah, it can pass on to the next
Exactly.
generation. And one beauty about the country is there's so much in the hinterlands, right? There's so much
Yes.
art, there's so much talent. So you're basically able to use that properly for greater good. So that really helps. Tell us more about the kind of designs or kind of materials which are trend. I wouldn't use the word trending after the conversation that we've had, but that you are focusing on, or you're seeing the market is liking as well. Ajrak, for instance, people are
Yeah.
liking it. We are seeing it everywhere. What are the other things that are coming up?
I think beautiful hand embroideries are a classic. They will always stay in sequins or in metalwork or in even like regular colored threads. Very intricate embroideries is something on Indian wear or even on Western wear is something that we are seeing picking up. Ajrak, of course, has become very popular. Bollywood celebrity wore it, and after that, it just
boomed
went
in
through the
high,
roof.
yeah.
And we saw a lot of saris, Ajrak saris on Okhai. We have a bunch of Ajrak things. We saw a huge spike in sales over there. I think saris in general has picked up a lot in the last few years. There are many brands that are doing saris now, and I think a lot of them are doing a great job. They're working with weavers. So weavers across the country that have been traditionally working in the sari space have seen a boom. People are wearing saris much more often now. You're seeing people having entire Instagram accounts just showing you how to wear saris. So I think that's really nice. That's incredible.
That's the classic things always remain classic,
Exactly.
right? I have to ask you, what kind of advice would you like to give to the viewers? A lot of them are Gen Zs, a lot of them are the younger millennials, so to say, to ensure that they, of course, consume, but they consume mindfully. What would your tips be?
Biggest tip would be find your style. Because when you find your style, you are able to get classic pieces more easily for yourself. Don't follow trends blindly because they're going to come and go. But if you do want to follow trends, try to, again, within that, get something that you can wear multiple times and not just once. So maybe a white shirt. Get a white shirt from a good sustainable company that you are going to wear for like 2 years and have like several combinations. So that would be like my biggest advice to Gen Z, I think. Find your style.
Find your style, and other things will take place themselves. That makes sense. And I had so many questions in my mind. I think I'm just revisiting them, and I forgot what I was going to ask you next. But in general, do you think social media is something which is maybe good for brands but bad for environment at times when it comes to consumption for textiles? So what do you make of that?
It's a double-edged sword. I think consumption has increased a lot since all of these fashion influencers and so many brands with their products have been there. Yes, consumption has increased because of that, but social media has also helped a lot of small brands to get their voice out. Before it existed, a small brand didn't know how to reach to a customer. You couldn't afford a big store in a big city. So how else would you reach out to anyone, right? But now, I think everyone has a voice. And people are using social media for a lot of good stuff also. So you're seeing now there's a good mix of people who are promoting consumerism, and then there are people who are promoting sustainability.
That's right.
And I think that's another advice I would like to give to the Gen Z. Follow the right people. I think that will influence indirectly your buying choices.
Yeah, we use the word influencer in a very different way all the time. I think positive influence and negative influence are two different things. But of course, I do get your point. I have to ask you, what are your ethos as a person who is leading such a big organization? Some tips that you have when it comes to leadership, and how many women in the workforce right now?
So we are, I think out of the 30,000, around 20,000 would be women. We are women-led through and through. And it's great environment to work in. Everyone is super focused, and everyone is very driven to make a difference in what in the world through what they're doing. I think my biggest advice for entrepreneurs would be to just be authentic. I think that is the most important thing. If you're authentic, you will see that in your work, you will see that in your conversations, your team will be authentic, people will be able to be more open with you. And I think that really brings a very open environment. And I think a large reason for that is also because it is women-led.
Yeah.
So we've naturally had that environment where you are able to discuss problems, challenges, very openly.
Yeah.
And it's not a struggle. So it's, yeah. So I would advise authenticity.
Authenticity. And that would also mean that Okai would never follow trends just for the heck of it. It'll be all original, and that's what you've been focusing on from the start as well.
I wouldn't call trends bad. I think through how I've been speaking about trends, it's coming
No,
across
of course
as
it's not
trends
bad.
are not
I
cool.
get. Yeah,
I think trends are cool. Everyone follows trends, including me. Just be mindful of how you're following those trends. It shouldn't lead to waste. That's it.
Yeah.
So yes, we do follow trends, but it's difficult for us to manufacture on the back of a trend because a pipeline is so long. We are sending products to the villages, raw material to the villages. It's getting embroidered there, then it's coming back, then it's getting stitched, and then it's going for sale to the store. So that itself is taking 6-7 months. By that time, the trend is come and gone. So I think that's also another reason why we don't really follow trends that are very quick to come and go. But trends that we know are going to last, definitely, like anything that's going to last for 1 or 2 years or more.
Yeah, it's a marathon, not a sprint, right?
Yes,
so just
exactly.
catch on to that particular trend, so to say. And is India absolutely self-sufficient when it comes to sustainable products? When I say the raw materials, because we are cotton producers, we are polyester producers. If you need any other material, do you think India has all
Not
of it?
fully. There are companies all across the world that are working a lot, technology companies that are working on these technologies to produce more sustainable fabrics. There is access. So it's not like we don't have access. We have access to those materials. A lot of companies in India are using sustainable materials that are not produced in India, or we don't have those raw materials available in India, and we are importing them. So I wouldn't say there's a issue with sustenance or they are able to sustain even though they are importing.
And you know, the next question, the last one on the podcast, is a personal one, because I see a lot of these, because I'm very mindful when I buy a garment, whether it's cotton, it shouldn't be polyester, but when it says recycled plastic or recycled polyester, do you think one should go ahead and buy it? And what is the longevity of that one?
So that's another one of those that we don't have enough statistics on. You know, there are so many viewpoints. One being that when you recycle polyester or plastic, it produces more plastic, and it produces more microplastics. So just let it be. But you also can't let it be. It's just adding up more and more and more. And by recycling it, you're at least using